Welcome to another episode of Pitstop Fracas. I'm your host Mahad, and we're here to review the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As you can see, we're in the studio. This is something new. This is something that we're going to be doing frequently next season as well. So we're just going to give you a little bit of a preview of the new format. Firstly, I'm joined by Richard. How are we doing?
I'm all good, brother. I'm all good. As you know, we just, as you don't know, but we just came back from Pitstop Live, an amazing live show and podcast as well. Race was a bit dead, but you know, everyone brought the vibes there, so shout out to Tandy and Nasha for the live show. But other than that, all good, bro. How about you?
I'm all good. I'm excited to be here. You get me? I am joined by Chris. How are we doing?
I'm good. You know, enjoyed Pitstop Live, then ran to church, then ran here. It's been a long day, but I'm good.
Listen, you're a dedicated man. We love to hear that kind of stuff.
F1 at 1 and the Lord at 6. I hear it.
I hear that. His prayers worked last week in Brazil for Russell's win, so
amen.
We'll keep that going. Kwame, how we doing, brother?
But I'm good. I can't. I'm tired still, but you know, I've got to make it for the studio. You know, yesterday I was up in knots. Day before.
Why?
They know why he was in knots.
Why are you always telling us stuff about like your journeys?
He was all up in Hooters. That's what he's doing.
You went nuts all over Hooters.
But not even. Nah, I went to see some uni friends, man. You went to my church.
Okay.
Nah, man. My journeys are always hectic. You know, my journeys are a life story. So that's why I tell you, man, these stories because you know, it adds to something. Even today for Pitstop Live, I was a bit late. I'm local in South, I know, but.
His DMs weren't dry.
Let's just say that. And we're finally joined by Nam. How are we doing?
I'm fantastic. I am.
Did you enjoy this season?
I did. Yeah, let me tell you why I enjoyed this season.
Go on, break it down, King.
Let me tell you why. Because a certain cast member thought he could be slick in the beginning of the season and bet me that my team wouldn't win a race. And then last week, my team won a race.
Speak on it.
So that means that this certain cast member, and I think everyone knows who it is, but if you're new to the pod, it's Anik. And if you are new to the pod, that means next season you're going to re-listen to the pod. So you'll find out who Anik is. Yeah,
definitely. And Anik, as always, has not turned up to the pod. He's not turned up to the studio to pay off his debt right now.
He wasn't meant to be here.
He was meant to be here. He said he fell down the stairs.
When George Russell first.
Kind of like dog ate my homework type of vibe.
Kind of like OJ with the gloves.
Oh, always.
Hey, yo. We'll edit that out, but okay.
But in his absence, he has given me your prize.
Fantastic.
So, what was your prize again? What? Actually, explain to the listeners what the bet was.
Okay.
And how it came about and how you won this bet.
Okay, so I'm gonna go way back.
Yeah.
Anik put a link in the in our group chat saying that Ferrari has customized some special petrol that's going to give him 20% more output. And he was going on that Ferrari was going to win the championship. I said that wasn't going to happen. I think my team would be okay. He said that because of the design of the car with the no side pods, they're not going to win a race. I said I beg to differ. And then we did a bet. We did a nice £100 champagne bet where the winner will have to buy the loser a bottle of their choice. I got legal man Mahad to draft the situation because I knew
lawyer man.
I knew Anik was going to be shameless. And we got things in motion.
There was a bit of a controversy prior to that race window because George Russell did win the sprint race.
Yeah, he won it.
And
a race.
And you was trying to argue on grounds that a sprint race is a race.
I mean, you just said right now that George Russell won a sprint race.
A sprint race is not a Grand Prix. It's not a race.
It's funny
it's
how
not a Grand Prix though, but the bet was race. But
we're gonna put a poll out, and I just want to get people's views on if a sprint race is a race win.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you was trying to claim on them grounds, having no faith in George Russell the next day.
No. You know what? I had
shameless.
No, you know what? I had faith, but. Man, I did law in uni, man. I know if terminology doesn't make sense.
Hold on. You did law, and this guy supposedly drafts papers for contracts. How can you guys miss out this legislation of a sprint race on the paper?
No.
That's a Mahad. That's a Mahad.
But I didn't feel like I needed to define what a race is.
No, yeah,
because that would be very long. It was long enough.
Yeah, it
If
was.
anybody
it
ever
was.
sees the message of the contract of this bet, it was long enough.
I think we should post that up for the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Clarification.
Regardless, George Russell won.
Yeah.
Mercedes won. The no side pod concept.
Successful.
No waste. No waste.
Successful's a bit of a
No waste.
That's subjective.
W13. No waste. No paste. No pace.
Well, it was successful because I successfully won the champagne.
Definitely. And we're gonna give you the champagne now.
Fantastic.
To the Cartier bag.
You put it in the Cartier bag, and he's left the card for you. So
Oh,
for
fantastic.
listeners, he's left your card.
Let me have
Oh.
a look. Let me have a look at this.
This probably
Is it the drink of your choice?
Oh,
Or has
he got it.
did he actually get it?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
Oh,
should've done
damn.
He's a
that.
man of his
You know
word.
what? You know what?
The
You know what?
Moët.
Let's see if you got the actual bottle.
Or did he put some Tesco bottle in there?
It's carb.
It is Moët. It is Moët. We can confirm
Show it to
that.
the camera, man. Show it to the camera as well.
One sec. Let's get this bad boy out. You got the small bottle, those.
I said I'm leaving with son.
I'm leaving with side. I'm
You
gonna
got
give
the
this
small
one.
bottle, though. But yeah, he got it. Well done.
Does this satisfy the bet? Is he a Lannister? Does he always pay his debts?
Well, after the pod, we'll look at the value of the bottle to see if he has.
Wait, so you can't recognize it off rip? You just know it's Moët, and then you don't know what type of Moët is. If it's
Oh, I
like
know
a
which one it
vintage.
is. No. It's an imperial
give-
brew. I know roughly how much it cost in it.
Okay.
But my head's saying that this is
The wrong
this is a
Bruce.
good-
Under the amount.
This is a good 30, 40 pounds.
That thing.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
that's,
thing right there, you know?
yeah, that thing. Yeah, I
I
get you.
mean,
Boy.
like the big bottle was.
He's left you a card though.
Yeah, let's see what's.
I wonder what he said.
It definitely says hold that.
It does. I guarantee you.
I bet it says something
What
stupid.
the hell is in this? Hold on. This guy is he's hilarious, bro. Look what's in this.
I've not actually seen it.
What?
Oh,
what's that?
Samples.
Is that samples?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah, a few samples.
I'll take that.
You know.
I love a fragrance. Shout out to Jeremy Fragrance.
So right, I'm out.
AKA Nico Rosberg.
He's got some Creed in here.
Oh, he's got Creed.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few
And
samples though. So that cologne to add the price up in it.
Aqua Diploma. Okay.
Aqua de Palma.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he's got the money.
He's got the money and he still
Damn.
skimped out. Typical Anik.
man says cost of living.
Remember, same guy
Well,
travels everywhere. Remember
We're
that.
gonna see Anik after this.
Mr.
So
Flued out.
He wrote a letter.
he wrote a letter on a. What, did he type this out? Or
Typed
did he?
this out.
Not even handwritten.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, cool. He said, congratulations on your win, albeit lucky. There is no Moët Brut as per the vote in the whole of the UK. That's less than £100, so take it or leave it.
What?
Wow.
So he knows he skipped out.
He put it in
Man
capital letters as
admitted
well.
to saying,
Put
yeah,
capital
hold that.
letters. The whole of the UK in caps.
I'm honoured. I have honoured my bet. You won. You told us Merc were one arrow package away. And yeah, it's taken to December for you to win. You're still the worst defending constructor in my lifetime.
That's incorrect.
That's
Very
incorrect.
incorrect.
That's definitely incorrect.
That's
bloody-
It's Ferrari, that is.
Renault 2007.
Yeah, the Renault as well. Actually. Yeah,
Well,
they,
but the
This-
Ferrari
That's
wasn't
as well.
that bad.
yeah, they did.
There's
After Raikkonen, they did.
there's one guy. I think it's Formula
No,
One.
no, no,
starts
no,
with
no,
a-
no.
09 cars dreadful.
08.
Oh wait.
08. They were in the title fight. Massive.
Yeah.
That was a good card.
Oh,
You
09.
think of
they
09,
stuck it
think
out.
of 09.
Oh,
But then
09.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is one
they
guy,
won
I think.
constructors.
Yeah, I think Formula One stats who did tweet out, I think at least 5 constructors over the whole history have done worse than Mercedes.
And then Anik told them to go away. He added us the actual response to that. But then what else is in the letter? Is there anything else?
Yeah, he said Ferrari are coming for big guns next year, and technically we are in a net one first place. Only illegal Red Bull finished ahead of us. P.S. I'm the fastest man in Pitstop.
Oh my
Slapped 2
god.
seconds on
When
your
we,
head.
when we,
Get
when
it,
we
like-
actually do some
Oh,
racing.
get out of here, man.
Get out of here, man.
But you know what? I appreciate that he honoured the bet. So
Yes.
well done, Anik. You're half honourable.
He's half honourable.
Yeah, because
The
we have to
half
still
honourable
check the
man.
value. Now, I'm
Taste
very
test.
serious about the value.
So then what he has to do is just Monzo you the difference.
I hear it. We'll check
As,
the
as a
value.
judge.
Yeah, we'll check the value, innit? It's easy, go on John Lewis quickly.
Or literally he'll go pay for your meal after this right now. After this is recorded.
You know what? I hear that.
Tell
one
him to pay
still.
for your bill, you get me?
Yeah, I hear that.
But we're going sub-based, Gaff, yeah?
You're not going Soul Base, guy.
Well done.
Shout out to Aldas for putting up a fake receipt.
Yeah, hey, shout out. That shit went
That's put up a
viral.
fake
That shit went
receipt about that
viral,
meal
fam.
that all the drivers went to. Put up a fake receipt, and then Martin Brundle's talking.
Yeah,
about
he-
it.
Yeah.
yeah. Sky Sports
Like,
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Aldas. You got
Yeah.
clout at me.
He got what 90,000 likes?
90K likes,
Crazy like that.
He's got the F1 world on strings.
Hey, I
Nah,
love
hear
that.
it.
I love that for him. I really do.
He was
From the show,
literally-
man.
he was telling me people in the paddock knew about it.
Yeah, he said that to me as well.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
He said, yeah, bare people in the paddock talking about it.
Let's start doing false information, spreading false
Yeah,
information,
why-
fake
yeah,
receipts and that.
More genders.
You know that
100%. But before we get started, all the usual promo. Please like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Please leave a comment. Follow us on Pitstop Fracas on Twitter. Follow us on Pitstop Fracas on Instagram. Follow us on Pitstop Fracas on TikTok. Over the winter break, we're going to be uploading a lot of content on TikTok as well. And if you are, thank you.
That picks up on the mic.
Please edit that out.
Okay, and if you are on podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anything like that, please leave us a review. Please leave us a 5-star. All of that jazz. And yeah, we are going to be reviewing the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Bit of a snooze fest. Kind of like the second half of the season. I think Brazil was a banger, but this race was it had nothing concerning me that I was interested in at all. But we'll get started firstly on Quali. Qualifying, we saw Max Verstappen take pole, Perez second, Charles Leclerc third, Sainz fourth. Was it Hamilton fifth? Hamilton fifth. Russell sixth.
Yeah.
It looked like Mercedes was gaining, especially if we looked at Brazil, that they've corrected those errors, they've sorted out the car and so on. And from what we're hearing, that we heard Lewis complaining about bouncing. We saw that they had quite a lengthy gap to Red Bull and a bit of a gap to Ferrari. They looked like Ferrari recovered that pace. I'm gonna come to you first, Nam. Is it a bit of a concern for you, Mercedes pace in Abu Dhabi? Because Abu Dhabi is a bit of a representative track in terms of like altitude and so on. Was like Brazil an outlier in terms of pace? Did it disappoint you that they didn't show the same pace, that they were clear of Ferrari?
It is a concern, and the reason why it's a concern because it just means that this car is track dependent, right? But I'm not that much concerned because there are a few tracks. There's at least 6 tracks on the calendar that have medium pace, not fast, not that many straights, kind of characteristics to it. So therefore, if Mercedes had a car that was working at the beginning of the season that was competitive enough, they would have at least won more races. So I'm not overly concerned. I think they have unlocked something because at the beginning of the season, that car was bouncing, was rocking, and like it was really, really jumping up and down. And yeah, that was a massive cause for concern. That doesn't seem to be the case now. Although obviously, if the track is kind of rough in terms of tarmac, it just bring it back, but it brings it back for a few teams. So I'm not concerned. I just think they need to go back and just kind of fine tune what they figured out now. And they should be more competitive. I'm not going to say they're going to win anything next season, but they should be more competitive this next season as a result of kind of like the latter stages, the work they've done in the latter stages. So, yeah.
I'm going to come to you, Chris, since you have stocks in both drivers. Thoughts on the W13? Does this concept need to be scrapped if they want to be fighting with Red Bull and Ferrari next season? On a consistent basis, anyway. This zero side pod concept that kind of the whole bet was about with Anik.
How can I put it? If they want to, you know what? If they know what's wrong and they can fix it, keep the concept. But if it's all gone left and it's going to be similar to how it is this year, where it's only worked in higher altitude races, it's a bit spooky. So they've said they know what's wrong and they know what they're doing. So I'm going to trust them and see them next season. Next season, it's do or die. You know, it's either if it doesn't work from the start, you have to scrap the concept and just start again. Don't even try and do the whole thing of doing experiments with Lewis again. Like, I don't want to see that. just scrap it and then start again. But if at the start they're cooking, then yeah, it works.
Can I just say something quickly?
Go on.
Why did they need to scrap it?
If it's the beginning of next season and it's not working, you've persisted for too long. Like.
But Ferrari persisted for 3 years
3 years of what?
of kind of sacrificing their cars in order to be competitive this year.
And it was.
Yeah, but they were
And
competitive
yes,
this
but
year.
it took them 3 years.
They're also building a wind tunnel and sorting out the engineering team. So it was a whole restructuring of their engineering
And
team.
it was new regs as well.
Yeah. So it's there's
And
new.
they
They
built
were,
a new engine as
working
well.
towards new regs and a new engine. It's not as... This is like you had the time to work. You stopped developing your car last year.
I
So
think-
you could work for this year, and then you had this whole porpoising issue, and even they've admitted that they've spent 10 months development time.
yeah.
So that means they're 10 months behind Ferrari and Red Bull in terms of actually eking out what they can get.
But then also- but
because they're
that-
trying to solve a problem
But then also like
rather than
the
find
regs-
performance.
But the regs aren't really going to change next season.
No, it's definitely
No,
not.
it's
It's, this is the same basis.
Yeah. So to the point I'm trying to make is, well, common knowledge or not, we know that some of the engineers that were at Mercedes aren't at Mercedes anymore. They're at Red Bull, right? So if all of a sudden you finish 2021 and then you had these engineers there and they all jump ship to go to Red Bull, and then you have to kind of build that team up in the winter and then continue with a concept that clearly probably was going to work because they would have designed this prior to the winter. I don't see why they should then bin it because of stuff that's happened internally for them. That's the thing for me. I understand what you're saying about, do or die. They're supposed to be a competitive team. They need to be fighting for championships. But I think we don't take into consideration how much has actually changed at Mercedes in terms of their back end in the last year or so. And if you don't think about that and you take their situation in isolation, it just looks mad. But if you do, then you think, okay, cool. So maybe what Ferrari did, where they changed their back team, they were working towards the regs. That's happened to Mercedes as the regs have come in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay, so I know, Kwame, you're a bit of a F1 historian.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I was thinking as well. If you are going down a concept where there is performance there is some sort of performance in that car, but has a very narrow operating window and it's dependent on certain circumstances, i.e. track dependent, and so on and so on. And James Allison's quite, I think he's known for actually working on cars that have operating windows that are quite narrow.
Yes.
And do you think for me anyway, in the history of F1, when there's a new regs that have come into place, most people just kind of like diverge into the design of the fastest car.
Yes, and we've seen that at the moment with Aston Martin, for example, during the second half of the season. Obviously, there's a bit different because that Dan Fallows who came in from Red Bull to Aston Martin, but you can see how Aston Martin's car quickly changed to be more shaped like the Red Bull.
Williams as well.
And I feel like more teams are going to go for the Red Bull route. And I feel like it'll be a case where if Mercedes don't change, it'll catch up with them later on in the reg cycle.
No, so that's what I was going to ask you. Is it a bit of a gamble here that you're going to continue with the concept out of your own pocket rather than diverging into maybe a Ferrari concept or a Red Bull concept like everybody else?
It's a gamble.
Because that's how it usually works when new regs come into place. Whoever is the front runner, you kind of see cars moving towards that direction. And we kind of saw with Red Bull that they kind of messed up last time because they kind of did it too late. They didn't want to copy the Mercedes design, and it kind of put them on the back foot at the beginning of the turbo hybrid era. So do you think that could happen to Mercedes?
It could do. I feel like if Mercedes don't have a plan with their regs, if the Mercedes have a plan with their car, if Mercedes have a plan with how are they going to improve their car next season, I feel like next season is it's either very do or die for Mercedes essentially. If their car's not performing next year, then if I was them, I just have to just slash the whole no side pod move and go for something else. Because if next year if they have a season like the beginning half of the season, Mercedes next year, then they need to cut their losses. If it's a season where like the second half of the season where they're catching up with Red Bull and they're beating Ferrari in most cases, then I feel like they should be fine capitalize off, being kind of second best team and try to beat Red Bull and their loss essentially. So, yeah.
Actually, one thing I want to add is, talking about Mercedes is about working out. I want to know what they are planning on working on. So if they're saying, it's the drag of the car, we know what's wrong, then it's fine. But if it's one of those things where they're still kind of figuring things out, because I know Ferrari said, we know what's wrong with our car, where it's cooking our tires. It's the rear suspension setup. That's all wrong. So at least they know what they're doing. With Mercedes, I haven't got that clear message where they're saying, we know exactly what's wrong. We know where we're going with things. So like Red Bull, to start the year was like, our car's too fat. It's too heavy. We strip weight, we gain more time. Ferrari worked something out. They worked its rear suspension. Mercedes, it's never been clear. So I want to hear from them going, we know what's wrong. We know where we're going to change the car up and make it work. And then once you have that, you have confidence in the team to make the difference.
That's the thing, because at the beginning of Mercedes, it was the whole porpoising issue. It's bouncing up and down. But even then, when it's kind of solved that, it was still not fast enough for them to be like, yeah, this is the car we're going to go for. And like Chris said, it still seems like they haven't kind of figured out really and truly what they've done. They have got faster over the year, to be fair with them. They have made the strides to get closer. But will them strides keep going next year? Because everything kind of resets in the following year. We don't know. We have to wait and see. But yeah. Be interested to see what happens be interested to see what happens next season.
100%. With Ferrari, I'm going to come to you, Richard. They've had a really bad 2 races in Mexico and in Brazil, where it just looked like they had no pace whatsoever. Seemed like they were kind of back on form because Charles Leclerc was quite close to putting in a really good quality lap and getting out on the front row. Do you think they're past their woes a little bit in terms of being behind Mercedes?
I don't know. It's a funny one because if you look at Mercedes over the whole season, then they've made like a steady progress. So it's like better and better as the season's gone on. Of course, we can take out Abu Dhabi today aside, but they've looked like they were nowhere. Compared to Ferrari, where we know Ferrari have a good car. Of course, the concept is a lot different to Red Bull's, but still does work. But, it's not external factors, but there's other factors around that as to why we haven't seen the full potential of the Ferrari per se. So, of course, with like driver errors, strategy errors, of course, and stuff like that. So, in terms of next season, if I was to at least go for the second half of the season, I'd probably say maybe Mercedes have to jump on Ferrari per se, but not. I don't think it's by a massive margin because, as we said before, the Mercedes only works in a narrow window. At least it'll still be 13. So it's kind of like high risk, high reward in a way. So it's a case of if Mercedes can get in that narrow window for 75, 80% of the season, I'd be pretty confident that they can beat Ferrari over the season. But if they can't, and then the start of next season looks like the way it was at the start of this season, then Ferrari should be ahead of them. But then again, is Federico Vasseur going to come in? And if he does come in, is he going to lay the law down and stuff like that? Because Benotto doesn't really much of a leader, in my opinion, to be fair. So it's more like, okay, you've got good designers there and whatever, and engineers, but it's a waste of time if the other person around are not doing the job, because then you're just getting quality hype, and then in the races you're getting mashed in.
Yeah, but that's kind of like what Chris said. Like, they know what their problems are, though.
Do they? Do they?
Do Ferrari know? Go on.
They've
Because the thing is,
said that the reason why they haven't developed the car further is because of the budget cap, because it costs too much to redo the whole rear suspension and change everything and remain under the cap. So if they know the source of the problem, then it's like, okay, we fix this part, and then next season is fix the rear suspension and then reduce drag, because obviously the big advantage that Red Bull had over them is straight line speed.
Yeah.
So
I'm not.
just a quick one. So barring Abu Dhabi, which we'll get to, how many races since TD has Ferrari been in front of a Mercedes?
Monza.
1,
Singapore.
2,
Singapore, yeah. How many with Japan? Yeah, Japan.
3.
And then it was... So it's only Mexico and Brazil the way they look really bad.
No, but my
Also, USA, George did do terrorism on Sainz. So we don't know where he would have actually been.
Yeah, but that's...
Yeah, and what? Leclerc had a penalty, right?
Yeah,
the injury penalty. So that's not really... That's a bit of an outlier.
So,
Mexico altitude, Brazil altitude.
Yeah.
That's true, talk to you. But in Austria, they look good though.
But in Austria, they look good.
And
No,
that's
but
the
the thing is, yeah, Austria blew up, yeah. So
Well, yeah, from the correct side.
and that's
not
and
sides,
they
obviously,
said that it actually affect. So this is what's happened as well. That actually reminded me. They actually they said they turned down the engines in Mexico and Brazil
Well, apparently
because they know because of the altitude, because of what happened in Austria to Sainz.
Right. Yeah.
Well, apparently, sorry to interrupt. Apparently, they haven't put their engines on full tilt for the whole season anyway because they want to test out reliability. So apparently, the PU power, they're still not like 25 big horsepower within it, but they haven't put it up to that because they want to test out reliability. So
Is that what Anik was
remains to
talking
be
about in
seen.
oil? Sounds like 20
no,
brake
but
horsepower right there. You know?
That's probably what it said, yeah.
It could be, yeah, it could be. Maybe Shell are moving a bit dodgy, but whether they'll go up to full tilt with the engine next season, I don't know. Because if they do, and then they turn into Alpine,
I was saying
it's
that's
a
what
long
I'm saying.
day.
It's the whole argument of with the engine, do you max it out and get the best performance of the engine, but if you do that, reliability is going to come, or you have your engine kind of lower where reliability is calm, but you ain't going to have the power.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Yeah, I know we're going completely off topic, but that argument with the reliability versus the engine power and stuff like that, I'm taking power all day long.
Yeah, you choose power.
That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason Alpine beat McLaren. We were reliable. We were just slow. They were rapid. So when it was on their day, they would get like a P4, P5, whatever. We wasn't able to do that.
depends how bad it is though.
But it depends on it depends on the
Because we've
so
seen
the
it happen in
percentage of
like
reliability.
yeah, because we've seen it happen in 05,
Like-
as you know. So that's the argument of where reliability came over power.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you will.
So because McLaren had the faster car by a mile, but how much
Yeah.
time
But
did
then-
Kimi Räikkönen retire in the lead?
One
Yeah.
thing I also want to question as well is, yes, the Ferrari's engine has been turned down, but the Mercedes haven't had, any of the Mercedes cars have had considerable power all season.
No,
man.
problem, the thing, I wouldn't say that this is the problem because I was actually analyzing this yesterday. I think with the Mercedes, I don't think it's a power unit thing because other Mercedes powered cars are way faster on the straight. Like Williams is fast.
That's because they'll have
on the straight.
downforce. They're the only one that's fast.
So
They have no downforce.
yesterday in qualifying, Albon had the fastest in that straight by a mile, faster than Red Bull.
Yeah, but like what?
Yeah, but it's about the setup,
The
right?
setup
It's
of
about
the car.
finding that balance, right? So for me, especially when you're looking at a championship winning car, you need a car that can operate in all kind of circumstances, and that's what Red Bull's got.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to be looking for, rather than in a certain circumstance, in a certain way, this car's going to be rapid, and that's not how you should be approaching things. And that's the danger for Mercedes, because if imagine they come into next year and then certain tracks they're just winning by a mile, but other tracks they're nowhere near. You don't want that scenario, and I feel like Ferrari is like that in some certain circumstances as well. So it'll be interesting to see where they land, because I always look at the last race of the season and qualifying and the race and so on as an indicator for the next season, who's going to be good. And I feel like Ferrari, if they had a performance like they did in Brazil and Mexico, it would be a big worry. But it looks like they've said they've been focusing on next year for a while.
Yeah.
And Mercedes have said they've been trying to fix the problems they have right now, because obviously that's the platform for next year anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're thinking about forward and trying to get performance out of a car rather than problem solving, you're already a step ahead. We're talking about competencies as well. Obviously, Mercedes might be more competent than Ferrari at actually doing stuff, but I'm saying just situational.
I still hold on to the fact that there was this kind of like, and it could be just lies and fabrication, but there was that whole notion of if Mercedes get it right, they could have been a second or so ahead at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that there's still this untapped potential in this car that they're not understanding properly, and
That's a problem.
that
Why
is
don't you understand?
No, that is a problem.
Yeah.
Like
especially
Ferrari,
after
they might not know how to solve it, but
Yeah.
they'll tell you specifically what's wrong.
No,
You know what I'm
that
saying?
is a problem, but I think that plays into the language they're using, like, oh, as a result of that, and we not being able to understand that, we have a narrow window of opportunity working. I think once they tap that should open up that window for them for them to kind of innovate a little bit further, because you can't, and I keep saying this, you can't be 8-time world champions essentially in a row, and then just throw away the regs next season.
We've seen it before, though.
Yeah, we've seen
With
it
who
before.
though?
Not 8 times, but because obviously reg changes are different. They're not
Yeah.
for that long period of time. But we saw Red Bull fall off an absolute cliff.
That's because Renault can't build engines.
Yeah, that was
more
their engine.
switch
That was
off.
more engine than like they were still rapid around corners and stuff. It's just that their engines kept
It's the
blowing
same
up.
way Ferrari in 05, where they fell off because literally they changed
Couldn't
the
build
rules
engine.
for
I don't, in
tyres.
terms of like
It's the regs.
aero, I don't know with them.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll
But
see.
We'll see what
We'll
happens.
see when we get to
Another incident. I don't know if it's an incident that happened in qualifying. It seems like when they were lining up for their last Q3 run, they're obviously the traditional traffic in Abu Dhabi when you're waiting for your quali run, and
terrorism.
Lewis Hamilton decided he's going to overtake the traffic and go through, and then apparently it looked like that Max Verstappen turned right, like he was going to go into him, and then the radio said,
Let them play.
Let them go, it's fine. I'm going to come to you, Mark. So Mark's big conspiracy theorist.
I don't know
the
where
pod.
Mark's is because Nam's here.
No, Mark's here. Mark's is not here. Mark's is
said
here.
Mark's
Just
is
wait.
here. He's like,
Mark's is
Mark's
here. Because in my head I was going to ask
Wow.
Mark's.
Yeah.
But Mark's is there. But he's not inside here.
The ghost of Mart.
The ghost of Mark's, because Mark's disappeared, you know, guys.
Yeah.
Hashtag where's Mark's?
All up in the
And
video.
then all of a sudden he appeared today.
That was scary, you know.
And I
when you told me that Mark's was outside, I was like, are you sure?
I said, what?
That's his move.
No. What happened? He came into the quick stop show.
Bare late. 4 hours late.
And it's like them ones where you thought, when Ian Wright was like, he saw the school teacher. And said,
yeah.
I thought he was dead. He was dead.
Undertaker.
They told me he was dead. That's what Mark's is, because nobody see Mark's. Mark's left the group chat.
Yeah. I
Mark's
asked-
deleted his Twitter. It's not about.
I asked him about that. He was
Missing
like,
list.
he had to slide out.
So we'll ask another resident conspiracy theorist, Nam.
I'm a resident. All right.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah,
can't
you
be
are.
serious,
I hear
man.
it,
Yes,
I hear
you
it,
are.
I hear
Let's
it.
be serious,
I hear
man.
it, I hear it. Although, and I think I'll post this up when the pod goes up. Yeah, there is more to that video.
Listen, do you know
What
how I know
more
you're
is to that
do you know
video?
how I know you're a conspiracy theorist?
Go on.
You'll just quote stuff on Twitter and say, guys. That's how I know.
The two worst words of the Pitstop account. Guys. Nam.
Nam. So he's like implying stuff without saying it, which is the sign of a conspiracy theorist. So
It's also to cover my back, because if someone tries to
what do you mean?
diss me, I'll be like, what are you talking about? What are you trying to say?
I just say guys.
What are you trying to get into?
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you thought about that.
Okay,
whole
so
situation.
let's go into isolation first, and
Okay,
then I'll
cool.
bring in the other stuff. So F1 put up the video. Actually, someone put up the video.
Someone put it off from
Yeah.
F1 TV, the onboards. The
that. So Max is looking in his mirrors, and he knows that Lewis is behind him. And then as Lewis goes past, he turns his wheel into him. He actively does that. And then the radios say, let him go, let him play. Personally, that is a wild thing to do, because if Lewis was closer, you would have crashed into him. So why are you crashing into someone at qualifying? And also as well, which I don't get with Max in that situation, is if you're the last car, surely you would get an advantage if you get past the checker flag in time. Unless it's magically going to rain in Abu Dhabi, which I've never seen it happen.
Chris, you look like you disagree with that. So what's going on?
Because obviously there's examples of other drivers waiting in the queue, their tires got cold and then their laps were done. So like, for example, K-Mag was waiting in the queue in Q1. His tires got cold. He couldn't put in the lap time.
But Max
down
is-
Q1.
Okay, but even still, yeah.
Which is why Lewis overtook, because he's like, I'm not waiting in the queue.
No,
for my
I
tires to
agree.
get cold.
I agree with Lewis. Lewis is in a car that can't work its tires, so he can't sit behind Max. I hear it, but people are saying gentleman agreement, X, Y, and Z, rare. Cool. But in that situation, I understand the gentleman's agreement, but like in a situation, why are you now turning your wheel into a car? That you wouldn't do that in any
That I
other
don't agree
situation.
with. That
Yeah.
he should have been on the radio saying, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, that's it. And he knows, the thing is, Max knows there's no law against it. There's no kind of FIA penalty for it. So he wanted to take it to the streets. Literally, he wanted to take it to the streets by attempting to crash into it. Here's where Max confirmed his Brazil demon to me on Saturday. So there's the F1 account put another video out where Albon and someone else are also behind Lewis and Max. They go past him. He does the same thing to them. So you've done that to two drivers and they've told you already, let it go. And then Lewis now does it and you do it even further. Like, you look
Further,
out-
or he just did it.
no, he looks out for it. because if you watch the video, he realizes one goes past him, so he speeds up, and then he realizes another one goes past him, so he turns. Yeah.
Is the question is what your point is that he specifically wanted to go for Lewis, or he's just going for anybody?
So the first two, the first one, surprise. The second one, he's trying to make the point that guys, gentleman agreement. So he's using his car to make that point. The third one though, with Lewis, you were actively seeking because you know behind you there's there's now two cars behind you. There's Lando and there's Lewis. Yeah. So you're actively looking for the next person, and surprise, it's Lewis behind you.
So I think I get you're taking this. You're taking this that Max in general is just dangerous, just out here
Absolutely
doing.
Because didn't he do this with Lando and
he's doing it
Suzuka?
on purpose.
Yes.
No, he's doing with further vengeance to Lewis than anyone else. Essentially,
Because he doesn't like people taking the position on track. So like Lando tried to overtake him, saying why you taking so long,
Yeah.
and then he was like, and then he went into,
Yeah.
and then he's seeing all these other cars doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not because what the take is that he specifically did it because it's Lewis.
No. So when I
Which I don't agree with. I just think he just does it.
No. It's half and half. So I think that he's done it to everyone, right? He's done it to Lando. He's done it in Suzuka, and he's done it to I can't remember who the other person is, but one of them is definitely Albon. So he's done it to them, but he's done it, and again, it goes to even he's driving. He's done it. He hasn't done it with the vengeance and aggression than the others. So what he has to do Lewis than the others, right? So it just looks wild, and also in isolation, it looks hella demonic. Like to attack someone in that way, like it's the situation I'm having with it is you wouldn't do that. Like you wouldn't if someone crashed. What happens? If he crashed into him, what happens?
They try to blame it on Lewis. That's what he do. He won the better.
He would say, "Oh, he shouldn't have taken." But like, it's
Gentleman agreement.
It's aggression, regardless of if. And I'll thought about this example, and if you need to bleep this out, you need to bleep this out. There's a gentleman.
Come on, man.
No, hear me
You're
out.
killing me,
Hear
man.
me out. There's a gentleman's agreement amongst all men. When you go to the toilet in a public place in a urinal, you leave
A gap.
one gap.
Yeah.
Gentleman's
Are you on
agreement.
that?
Everyone knows that.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if a guy comes here and stands right next to you, are you gonna now pee all over him because he didn't honor that gentleman agreement?
Depends on how drunk I am.
Excuse me?
Still a crime.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Nah, I heard it.
That's still a crime.
It's getting bleeped out anyway.
Because I haven't honored the gentleman's agreement. That
That's a
doesn't mean
violation.
you should be a wild person and almost attack me.
Yeah,
Like-
but you heard him last week in Brazil. I have my reasons. He's a principal man, innit?
no, but I thought no, let's not.
He's
go.
got his own principles.
Yeah, he has his reasons.
He has his reasons.
So what?
So if you break the gentleman agreement,
so he's an
Yeah.
arbiter. He's an arbiter of. He's a. What is he? Judge.
he's a judge and executioner. Look, if they ain't gonna
You
do it,
want to
I'm
let
gonna
Dutchman
do it.
do that?
I'm gonna do it. I say no more. But yeah, so started the race. Max Verstappen on pole, the same man that we're just speaking about now. Talk to me about this race start, Richard. We saw a little bit of. We saw George Russell's dropping like a stone.
Argy-bargy.
Bit of argy-bargy. I think that happened because Sainz kind of slowed down, and it slowed down Russell. Does that make sense? Because he was about to he wanted to make a move on Sainz, and then Sainz like kind of breaks sharp, so he had to kind of avoid inaction, and then Norris went on the outside of him, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've seen like half of the race start because it was a bit chaotic, I can't lie to you. But yeah, I did see a bit of Sainz moving, doing a bit of argy-bargy, that sort of thing. But of course, the main topic at hand is obviously with the race start was Lewis trying to get past Carlos Sainz, and then Carlos Sainz made a cheeky quip on the radio to say, "Oh, he did the same thing against Max Verstappen last year."
Yeah, I don't know what that was
That's
about.
not
Still,
really the same thing,
He
bro.
is Alonso's disciple, bruv.
He
he's
low-key is.
spicy still. He's a spicy guy.
Diet Alonso, that's what he is. Alonso
nice.
Light. Yeah. No, them ones.
So Richard, what was your thoughts? Do you think that was a racing incident? Do you think he should have got a penalty? Do you think he forced him off track?
I think at first I did think it was a racing incident, but I think maybe Carlos probably pushed him off, to be fair. But I can see maybe why it'd be a racing incident, to be honest. But I haven't seen enough replays of it, so I can't be 100% sure. only seen it once when it was love, and of course, I had my Lewis hat on. I was like, yeah, it's the Spaniards' fault, and all shit like that. So, I'm saying recent incident for now to cover my back. I'll probably reconvene this next week, and I'll give you a full answer. Okay.
Chris, racing incident, not racing incident.
Put it this way. Nah, Sainz was on a bit of terrorism still. It's one where there was just about enough space, but if Lewis had kept it there, they would have 100% hit each other. There's no way that that Sainz and Lewis made the corner side by side like that. So he ran him right to the edge. Lewis bailed out, and then obviously him and Ferrari did a bit of calls on the radio, just kind of keep on saying on the radio to get Lewis to take the position, to swap positions, and it worked. So it is what it is.
So if you was a steward, you would say that's a 5-second money right there for Sainz.
I wouldn't say a 5-second penalty. I would have let it go. I would just not said no, don't swap positions back. I'd have been like,
No investigation.
No investigation needed.
Yeah.
Give the position back to Lewis. Or don't give
No
the position
investigation,
back to
necessary.
Tell
don't
Lewis
give
to not to give the position back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Kwame, thoughts? Penalty, no penalty?
So I only saw. So I've only seen the back in it just recently in there. Shashanam. So the highlights in it. But I was watching the race. I just missed the beginning. But from what I saw, anyways, I would say Sainz's fault personally. But I'm guessing that was the first lap as well, isn't it? So first lap tax, you know how it is. Racing incident. So that's what it was given it. So, but yeah, I'll probably say Sainz's fault out of them two. More because he didn't give Lewis the space for the overtake. But yeah.
Nam, thoughts?
It's dangerous from Sainz because he doesn't need to go that far. Because
Is it dangerous though? You acting like he's pushing him into a wall. It's just bare
if there
runoff.
was a wall there, then
Is that the?
there's a sausage curve there.
There's a sausage curve. Yeah.
So
It's
and
sausage curve.
and we've seen F2 drivers and sausage curves.
No. That's because them man with the sausage curb, they go off the track and they go straight and hit the sausage curb, hence them flying over. If it's from the side, you're not only gonna be affected by sausage curb like that. Don't get me wrong, sausage curb should not be enough.
No, that's how that woman broke her back in the W series.
Yeah, like and because she went sideways, and also in F2, the car went sideways and went flying. Like it's happened before.
You kind of went parallel into.
I'm not talking about that one. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about another one. There is sausage curves are dangerous, but I don't think Sainz knows it's a sausage curve. And maybe I'm being a bit too much in terms of dangerous. But my thing is, you could have left more space and still compromised Lewis into turn 2. Was it turn 2? Yeah, it was turn 2. It's he doesn't need to do it because he's compromised him anyway by even leaving him just a little bit of space into the next turn, and he still makes it. Unless he believes that Lewis is going to do terrorism, then Lewis would have got the penalty.
Yeah, I think it's just a racing incident, man. Let people race, man. What's wrong with you?
I can't let I can't let these drivers race like that, because I realize they could literally kill each other.
Yeah, but I think a lot of drivers drive like how Sainz drives. I don't think he's an exception.
I agree. That's why we can't let them race.
Well, no, but isn't this like I'm really conscious about being an old head. You can't have an old head mentality looking at race. Race is developed now in a way that the way these guys drive is not the same the way like your Alonsos and your Vettels and your Hamiltons are driving.
They still drive like
you're gonna see how they're driving like karting. Like everybody thinks, because Max is the first one out of those guys to be in it, like at a top level. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks, it's just Max. A lot of these guys are the same.
I've been saying this. Max is the worst out of a bad bunch of drivers. He is. In terms of
because they drive the Formula 1 car like it's a cart.
Yes,
they drive it like they're driving F122. Like they believe that they can just switch off.
He is a sim racer, to be fair.
Yeah,
him and Lando.
Yeah, that's
but Lando doesn't do this level of terrorism.
No, Lando's probably the only one that doesn't.
No, but Lando can. But
Brazil.
No. Brazil was. It was more of he went on the inside sausage curb, he went flying and just understeered into it.
Yeah, that's not Lando's.
He's not intentionally got. He's literally went on the curb and had no control of the car anymore.
But the thing is, the lack of taking responsibility.
That's normal.
A bit like he's got.
He ain't gonna take responsibility for nothing.
Yeah, but
and I expect him to be
after
that.
The race is done.
Don't matter.
Bro, that's why George went and apologized. Norris's
mentality is different. He's not gonna be doing them things. He don't care.
But my issue,
he literally doesn't care.
But that's the thing. My issue with these drivers currently is, I even feel like the rules and the regs are saving them a lot compared to other drivers in the past.
I feel like the FIA is helping them, definitely the stewards and definitely the
I like it. Let him race, man.
definitely warnings.
You nasty.
What you let him race, man?
It's just
Now, quick one. Yeah. Do you think there's a fine line between hard racing and terrorism?
100%.
Do you think you sway towards the right too much?
Me?
No, because you. No. Listen. Listen.
That was very smart.
Hey, Namparaj. Okay.
No, what I mean by that is that let's say terrorism is the right, and let's say hard racing is the left.
Right.
90% of the time,
I like when you put those places right wing, left wing. I see what you did there.
90% of the time, you sway towards the right.
No,
I never hear you say that was hard racing. You always go, that's terrorism. More time.
No,
Yeah, we've called you
Because
safety marshal Nam
no,
before.
no.
Yes.
You said Bottas the most dangerous driver on the
But
grid.
yes, 100%.
Yes, because I reckon if we could show you two clips similar, and we didn't tell you who the drivers were, or we did actually, you'd say one was hard racing and the other was terrorism, even though they look similar.
Oh, so you wouldn't do car A, car B when you look at incidents? You look at who the driver is.
That's what I basically mean. Yeah,
Maybe
I
impartial.
think he's got the agenda tinted, hating on Max spectacles on too much.
No, I don't.
And then it's
I really
just-
don't.
Nah, bro, you
No,
do.
I don't.
You go
I don't.
hard.
No,
Up
I
there.
don't.
Pause.
Because, let me tell you why. Yeah, let me tell you why. Because when. Oh, no. I don't think you did that.
Lewis, yeah.
I'm a
you
trained
saying
professional.
No, because I've
It's
seen
enough.
no, because even when watching Lewis growing up, yeah, there was a period of time when he was before he went to Mercedes. After his thing, I said he was an absolute terrorist.
Yeah,
He was like
2011, he was.
he was
He's terrorizing Massa.
he was dangerous, but like but I can see prior before that and now I could see that Lewis has racecraft where his intention initially coming into F1 wasn't to less crash into everyone. He wasn't on a Grosjean tip. Like he wasn't like tell me where the brake is. Oh, I don't know where it is. Let the car fly over Alonso's head. Like, it wasn't that kind of.
Do you think what I've always said? Yeah, I feel like it's circumstance though as well. I think Max is the outlier here, but when you're in the midfield, you got to drive like that, or you're gonna get eaten alive. And Lewis is like learned over time that I'm a front runner. I don't need to do them things. I need to take the car.
Okay, cool. That's fantastic. But
But
now,
when you're in the midfield, you have to fight for your life.
But now, like the Tory front benches, the people that shouldn't be at the front benches.
Oh my god.
The people like,
Man, go a day without mentioning politics challenge.
but hear me
Impossible.
hear me out. Like the Tories, the people that should be at the back are now at the front benches, yeah? Now, on F1, yeah, the people that should be sitting in the midfield are now competing for championships.
Like who?
Like Max Verstappen.
Eh?
Yeah,
He's not a midfielder at the front. Don't do this.
The thing
Don't
is that he's a
do
mid-
that.
whoa. I'm not saying that he's not a midfield driver, but the mentality that he's having, like you just said, is someone where he started off in Toro Rosso. And then he was in a Red Bull that wasn't competitive for a while. So he's still thinking, I need to crash it on people. When really he's got the fastest car, he doesn't need to drive.
No,
the way
but
he
like
drives.
this season, I feel like he's done it less because he's 20 seconds on the road. He
he's
got nobody to do it with
exactly.
because he's so quick. He's long gone.
Exactly, but then in situations where he knows his car is fast enough, he's still doing wild.
No, because
nonsense.
let's say look at Brazil and the incident with Hamilton.
Yeah.
He isn't doing that if he's like it's for the lead. He knew that car had no pace that weekend,
So he thought crash it.
so he said F it.
Okay,
And he already won the
and then-
championship.
and then-
Do you know what? I reckon that scenario goes down completely different if he hasn't won the championship yet.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case, because even in the US against Lewis, it was I thought it was a bit over aggressive because the way he turned into it. into
Nah, that's
corners-
fine. It was fine. I'm not gonna lie to you, lad. That was fine. USA was fine, man. Show me complaints about the USA the way he's driving.
No, I just think I've watched drivers where they haven't stuck it into it. They've left it and just outmaneuver drivers with braking and acceleration. I've seen it in the past where I saw Vettel do it. I've seen Raikkonen do it. I've seen Mika Hakkinen doing it. I've seen Michael Schumacher do it. I've seen Jensen Button do it. Like, I've seen drivers.
Don't
instead
mention
of-
Jensen Button's
No,
name,
but
man,
the point I'm trying to say is they can't make the corner. They can't finish. They can't execute in the corner. So I brake early and I hit the acceleration and then I beat you in the straight after that. Like I've seen drivers drive.
Yeah, now he's done that quite a lot. Like where he's just on a straight and he's got DRS and he's just dunking you. He doesn't need to be near you in that sense.
Yeah, but
This season anyway.
But this season he's done that a majority of time to take the lead and
That's because the car's been so fast. Like that's literally just.
But he's still got it in him. That's my point. He's still got it in him to go. I'm gonna take.
Oh, yeah, that's
if we
Did he do that with Charles at the beginning of the season when the cars were a bit equal?
he don't respect Charles.
Doesn't
he
respect?
does.
I think he does.
He does.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I know he doesn't because you can't talk. You can't be smiling in a press conference.
There's a difference between respecting and rating. I don't think he thinks Charles is better anywhere near on his levels.
No, I don't think he does.
I don't. He does the respect of not like trying to crash into him.
No, I don't think he respects him.
He doesn't need. He didn't do it. They've tangoed quite a lot. He ain't done it.
I think
Because he knows, like you said, he rates himself higher than Charles.
Yeah.
And also I think for him, that's part of respecting a driver. Like I think he respects Lewis a lot, but he just doesn't like Lewis.
Do you think it's like a dethroning sort of situation? Do you think because Lewis is like the top dog per se?
No,
he's trying to like dethrone man.
No, I think it's more of he came into Formula One when he was 17. People at the get-go were saying this kid shouldn't be in Formula One. So now he's at the front where it's like, well, I can just prove all the haters wrong. And who's at the top? Oh, it's Lewis. Let's crash on him. And then on top of that, the 2021 season was just hella toxic, and he can't see that. So it's like, why are all these people?
And look, 2021, he was like, I'm leaving with something. That was like do or die. His behavior was do or die behavior.
Yeah,
it was.
Every race.
Yeah,
Because he was like, this might be my only opportunity. He didn't know what next year's car was going to look like.
yeah. But then AD happened, and then as a result of that, I think for him, it's more like, why does everyone hate me, kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's in reality the actual incident of ASD. That's not really.
It's not his fault. It was
not in
never
his
his
control.
fault.
innit?
It was never his
It's-
fault.
It's not in his control what
Yeah.
actually happened. And any other driver would do that same situation if they had the opportunity
Yeah, of course.
to overtake. They're going to do that.
Of course, I never blamed him for AD. It
But-
was Red Bull, but
But in another sense, is he gonna? I think over time, do you get more chilled out now? It doesn't seem like it. He didn't have that. He had that.
You know what?
I don't know why he had that whole thing with Checo last week in Brazil.
That,
like,
that's
that
not-
if you're thinking about something that happened in Mexico, bro,
in
you already
Mexico,
won the title.
Monaco.
Yeah, that's
no,
demon
Monaco. It's something in Monaco back then. Like,
he's won the title.
to be fair, Monaco that cost him a win,
But he's won
that's
the
really no
title.
idea,
but he won the
don't get
title,
involved.
so you should forget about that, right?
Yeah.
But then he still remembered
You
it.
don't forget
But-
it, but it's more. If you're fighting for a win, you take that from him. Like you take it from
No,
him.
no,
like
because-
Vettel did. Vettel took Mark Webber's win.
But that
what
was-
happened in
Yeah, but
Brazil
Mark
2012.
Webber was like in. This is what people forget. When Mark Webber was actually earlier in the season and he was in the title race,
He was there.
He was competing with,
yeah.
2010s, definitely.
and that's what at that time in Monaco they were competing with each other. They were like less than 20 points between them.
Yeah.
So you're still doing a title race there, and Perez is gonna be, and that whole weekend Perez was cooking anyway.
Exactly.
So he saw him at that time as a direct threat.
Yeah, Perez did.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Perez saw him as a direct threat. Max actually saw him. Okay, this is.
I'm gonna be controversial. I think what Perez did, because I've seen, considering what I've seen in qualifying, what Perez did was justified. Because
Well, Bennett-
Hear me out,
he's
hear me
doing
out.
it
Bennett on purpose.
No, hear me out,
This
because-
is PK's junior level.
because
man. Come on, man.
Charles
Nah,
binned it. Charles finished. Remember,
Bidding it on purpose is cheating.
how do we
right?
know? How do we know that Charles didn't bid it on purpose?
No, Charles bidding it on purpose.
Exactly, but he hasn't
He
admitted
did,
it.
but he didn't know to bin it.
Yeah, but then he
Clark
didn't.
was
Do you know
gearbox.
why he didn't need to admit it? Because he didn't start the race.
But then he's just worse. He's just worse at bidding it.
Yeah, but
That's
high
it.
reward.
No,
Yeah.
that would be way more controversial if he actually started that race and won the race.
I know, but then, what's
going on here?
No,
Why
but then,
talk about this,
but then
man?
the thing is, Perez, was too nice.
Bro,
because he
cheating is
admitted-
cheating. When Fernando did it, when Michael Schumacher did it in Monaco,
Yeah,
you
no, I'm
can't
not-
do them things.
Hear me out. I'm not saying that
There's no justification.
I'm not saying that cheating is justified.
Clip
What
it.
I'm
There's a reason why Flavio
Hey,
didn't
what-
talk
what's
about
the
this.
stop?
There's a reason why.
Honorable Nam, you know.
not. No. Hear me out. I'm not saying that cheating is justified, but what I'm saying is, like I said, I've seen other drivers do it. So Perez, I've seen it as well. So he thought, yeah, let's bid it.
No, don't bin the car. The thing is, you could do the thing that Michael did, that Rosberg did, and park.
You
the
can't.
car.
That's too bang on now.
You can't. How can you just park
Two
the
man have
car?
done that now. You can't do that. You can't do that.
You
a few
can't just
times.
park. You
You
have to
can't.
bid it.
You have to like proper bin it. Like the way
Yeah,
Perez
you
did.
have-
They
You gotta do
claim
it.
that chick. You can't claim that chick,
You
bro.
have to slam the brakes and lock.
No.
Do you know who did it?
no,
Do you know who
no.
did it that same day?
Alonso.
Alonso. And nobody said nothing.
Yeah, because he locked the brakes and went
What, he
off.
binned it or locked
No,
it?
like, he locked it and just went into like that and pretended like he couldn't move. And he did that before Perez's crash.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
literally
true,
like
he did.
10
He
seconds,
did. Yeah,
like
he did.
2 seconds before.
Oh yeah, up
He
the
did
road.
it.
Yeah,
So the session was going to get red flagged anyway. Because what Alonso did.
yeah. So Perez doesn't know that. But all I'm saying,
Do it smart. Like, don't crash the car, bruv. You're making.
Do you know that crash was the most damage Red Bull got this season?
yeah. No, but where's he gonna stop? It's a red flag from
And
the
swivel-
that
swivel-
moment.
swivel
Anthony
section.
Nukes.
Swivel.
What's
You're gonna-
that corner
you're gonna
called?
stop.
Anthony Nukes. What's that corner called? Anthony Nukes. Is that the same corner?
No. Rascas where Leclerc crashed Lauda's
Yeah,
car.
Rascas. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Do that, bruv. Just spin it where Leclerc crashed Lauda's car.
Yeah.
But you know,
That's a
you
good
know the
place to
issue. But
do
you
it.
know
No,
the
that's
issue
too
with
wide.
that. Yeah. Do you know the issue with that is they could just double flag it, and then if Max is quick enough, he could get past there.
No, you can't.
No.
He's
Rascal.
behind him. No, Sainz and Max was behind him. But I don't know
No,
why
no,
we're
not
talking.
with red flag. I'm saying yellow.
We're losing control here. Anyways, we're talking about one of
Don't,
the
don't
worst.
cheat, guys.
All
Man.
right.
Don't cheat.
But yeah, Perez. Let's talk
Is
about
that
Perez.
double entendre?
Let's talk
Yeah,
about Perez. Let's
come
talk about
on.
Perez because Perez had a objective today, right? His objective was to finish P2 in the championship,
Didn't perform.
and he started on P2. He had Charles Leclerc behind him, and somehow, some way, Charles Leclerc on a 1-stop beat him when he was on a 2-stop. He got close to towards the end. I think it was like the second between them. I think.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah,
1.8, something like that.
1.8. Yes, but Charles Leclerc now finishes P2 in the championship, 3 points ahead of Perez. I'm gonna come to you, Chris, because Chris, you're the resident Perez hater. Has Perez failed this season?
Yes. He joins Mark Webber and where your teammate sets a record for wins and you don't finish P2 in the championship. That is disgraceful. Your car's the best car. When they shedded weight, it became the best car on the grid comfortably, and you didn't bring it home. You have less wins than Charles Leclerc. Your teammate has 15 wins, and you're finishing P3 in championship. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And the thing is, it will show in the following seasons when, if say Mercedes come back or Ferrari are better, it's gonna show. And like this season, whenever he had to drive fast, he's always struggled for tires. It does not make sense to me. It's like the first time whenever you're running similar to Max's pace, your tires are always dusted. You're always struggling. There's always something going on. It's not good enough. Like the thing is, the truth's come to light. I think everyone can see it, and it's one where look, next season they got Danny Ric on the back burner. Any nonsense goes
Danny
on,
Ric ain't
that's an
going there.
easy swap.
No, Danny Ric's gonna go there.
It's an easy swap.
No, he's gonna be a reserve driver. He's not gonna be a permanent one.
They could swap him.
They
They've done
could-
it
they
with
could-
Kvyat,
They'll
Gasly.
They'll swap. They're known for swapping drivers mid-season.
No, he won't do it. He won't do it.
What? He won't step into that
Danny
seat.
Ric
won't.
He's
Yeah,
stepping into that seat.
Nah, he
That's a
won't.
race-winning car.
Nah,
You crazy?
He won't. He
I
won't.
don't see it either.
He won't do it.
Well, why don't you see it, Kwame? Go on, tell us.
Danny Ric.
So if Danny Ric is in that reserve seat, not really reserve seat, but show car,
Fam, Liam Lawson
turning
is a reserve
up at I don't know any Red Bulls.
Social
or
media-
anything.
he's a social
Man,
media-
He's on
social media
he's on
manager.
stage at Culture
Media
Clash.
He's
I don't know what he did.
He's Oxley Chamberlain for Red Bull.
Well, it's going to be with 1-4 in them,
He's
yeah?
gonna be everywhere. He's gonna be everywhere.
It's going to be with 1-4.
He's gonna be. He's gonna be at the soapbox race.
Yeah, he is.
And he'll still lose
He's
that.
gonna present it on.
He's gonna be
Soapbox race. God damn.
When it climbs up that hill and starts down the...
He's gonna present it on Red Bull
hold on.
TV,
So
don't worry.
Kwame, tell me why you don't think, even if he's in that role, that he can take Perez, especially if Perez was underperforming.
The reason I don't see it is because Ricardo's current season with McLaren past seasons haven't been up to par. Yes, I understand that Ricardo knows the team well. He has done well in Red Bull. He's the last guy to actually outdo Max and match him as well. But these past 2 seasons, McLaren haven't been it. They've got other drivers in the AlphaTauri seat. You've got people like Yuki. You've got people like Nick De Vries. I felt like if they rated Ricardo, he would have got that seat ahead of Nick De Vries. Like that made no sense. Why?
He has no interest in going to a team like that.
That's
Then hold that. Then hold that.
that's demoralizing.
He said
Then hold that.
Yeah, but Kwame, he said if he's going to return, he's going to a race winning team.
Yeah, he's
Bro,
going to Audi.
they ain't taking it, man. They ain't taking it.
No, for them to discuss
I wouldn't-
Avatar
Audi?
is
Yeah,
demoralizing.
he's going to Audi.
That's not a race winning team.
Are you sure?
Sauber.
What, straight
Alfa
away?
Romeo.
Yeah.
They can't.
2024.
That's not possible.
They're
You can't
not
just
winning.
rinse straight
not
away.
Ross Brawn did it.
Yeah,
That was a
Yeah,
one.
but then
Ross Brawn's left F1.
you found a loophole though.
Ross Brawn's left F1. Where's he going next?
you know who Ross Brawn is, right?
He's going to
I know who Ross. But what I'm saying is, where's Ross Brawn going?
Okay.
He's left F1. Where's he going?
Okay, back to Perez, yeah? Perez had the largest quali gap of any driver to their teammate this season, Kwame. As you say, Mexican Fisher Keller.
Yep.
Um,
Body check him.
Does he? Is he in danger?
Chavo
Is
Guerrero.
he in danger in general for his seat next season?
I say,
Because he's not finished P2 in the championship in the fastest car.
listen, I say next year's a make you do dive. It's a dive.
Do or die.
May God do or
Man,
do
he's
or
boxing on the
die.
mic.
It's a
I'm laughing,
Uchiwali
fam.
is a one mic, bro.
Next year's a do or die season for him, man. I can't lie. I feel like this year, it's actually mad. 'Cause this year is better than his previous years, but he still hasn't been to the level of Max, in my opinion. And obviously, he's not gonna be Max's level. We've been knowing that he's not gonna be a championship guy. But I feel like the team expects more from him. I feel like the fans expect more from him. Like Chris said, you're on the best car, and you're getting done by people like Leclerc and Ferrari, who've been very shaky this year. Next year,
Obviously, there's a talent gap there between him and Leclerc.
Is he in the best?
yeah, there is. There's big.
He's in the best car.
Red
He's the
Bull's
best
the
car.
best car.
Okay, look. If we're saying, let's say that car's equivalent to, let's say, a Ferrari 2004, yeah. You know,
No, but I'm
you know
saying-
Barrichello was second, but like
Okay,
a
let
clear
me-
margin.
Let me
Mercedes
let me
2020,
contextualize what
Bottas
I'm
was
saying.
P2.
Is he in
Just
the
about,
best
but still P2.
Red Bull car?
What do you mean?
Do they make their cars equal?
What
Oh,
would
let's
be?
not do this, man.
No, let's not do this.
Man's doing
Conspiracy,
conspiracy.
nah.
See, man tried to drop
I'm
this
here
shit.
with it. I'm here with
Like,
it.
He's just trying to do content. That's what he's
Leave him
doing.
something, man.
Hey, Red Bull fans, at him.
End
On
on
the-
everything. Go on. Come on.
Yeah, and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, not the Pitstop Fracas car. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, just at Nam.
Yeah, come on then.
It must say, "Come on, then."
He's a bad
Like he's
guy.
a West,
Come on,
like he's a Millwall
you-
fan, no shirt on. I say, "Come on, then."
Yeah.
Come for me. Real talk. Perez, I feel like it's just not good enough in terms of just like pace wise. Look, I'm a big Perez defender, and his only objective was to finish P2 in the championship, and he did it. Whether there's a talent gap between him and Charles, you are in superior machinery. So he has to step it up. The one thing that worries me is why is the gap so big? The gap is bigger than Albon Latifi, the qualifying gap. You cannot have a gap that big.
And the worst thing as well is,
And
that,
he's not a good qualifier. We
he's
know
not good
this.
No. But also,
He got caught by Stroll in quali.
yes, that's facts. But also, Max is not a good qualifier either. Like Max has only been a good qualifier these past 2 seasons. In the past, Max's strength has never been qualified.
I think
Development, he's got better.
he's got better.
Okay, I'll give
But I
him-
think that's his. I think if we're gonna talk about weakness of Max, that's one of his weaknesses.
Yes.
Because he hasn't got like the quality pace of like a Leclerc or Lewis Hamilton in terms of like consistency.
His one lap pace, Max is his weakness.
But his race pace is insane because he had like 5 seconds on Perez in
Yeah.
a couple laps.
Yeah.
In that start of the race, he should. And then also Max was dragging him along in the DRS thing, and then Max just said, "I'm checking out. This guy's too slow." So that's not good.
Yeah, Max is doing his own race.
That's not good.
I feel like with Perez, I feel like where it went wrong, I feel like the strategy, because he's think on paper, the two stopper would be better than the one stopper that Leclerc did, didn't it? But that gap after when his last pit stop, it was like P5 or P6. And I remember we were watching it, yeah.
He was dancing with Vettel.
Yep. And we were watching it, and Mahad said he's going to catch him. I said, bro, he's not catching it. There's not enough time for him to get to where Leclerc was.
I just think that his type, oddly enough, his thing that we call his biggest strength was.
They should have used that though, strategy wise though, right?
They tried to, but his cars were cooked and he's just getting caught by Leclerc. So they're just like, we're going for the 2-stop and we're just going to beat Leclerc on speed or force Ferrari because normally Ferrari cooked their tyres.
But the mad thing though, like he was faster than Leclerc. Like the pace was there, but it was just too much of a gap. For him to
He
catch up.
could have done a Singapore and keep him behind.
I don't think so.
He kept Charles on the manners.
I think Leclerc would have gotten him.
Have we really even seen Charles overtake Perez on track like that?
Yeah, but here there's 2 DRS straights back to back. It's a bit sticky still. So as long as you play it cleverly, and let's be honest, one of Leclerc's biggest strengths is sometimes he actually has good racecraft. So I reckon he would have beaten him.
Richard, is Perez's job in danger?
Yes. To be fair, I always said next season will be his last season no matter what anyway, unless he somehow won the championship, which was never going to happen. Because, for example, with them bringing in Nick de Vries, you know, it kind of says a lot about the academy, about how scarce the options are, that have to take a Mercedes junior per se and put them in their car. I've heard theories online that they might be trying to groom de Vries, if he's good enough, to sit alongside Max. So maybe feels like a Dutch connection sort of thing. But yeah, Perez has been locked down this season. I know he's been better this season than last season. He's got 10 podiums, and 2 wins and whatever. And the 2 wins are pretty solid, to be fair. But he should have been clear in P2. Like, it shouldn't be going down to Abu Dhabi, to be fair. Even as good as Charles may be and as good as that car may be, it shouldn't be going down to Abu Dhabi. So I think if he performs like he did at the start of the season and managed to drag out over the whole of the season, he may stay for 2024. If he starts stinking out where he's like 30% behind his teammates, 4 attempts down on average in quali, you know, and getting absolutely queffed, they'll probably swap him out mid-season, maybe for Danny Ricciardo.
I'm going to say one last thing here is, you know, when Helmut Marko speaks about you and he starts speaking about you negatively, it's a bit spooky. Because even when Yuki's have his wobbles, he still says some nice stuff about Yuki. With Perez, I haven't heard anything positive. It's all been kind of negative and
I
bare
can't lie. He said some suspect stuff about Yuki still. Some sus stuff.
Some wow.
No, he says some positive stuff at the same time.
I hear how he speaks about like the junior drivers and stuff like that. Like he speaks about Isaac Ajar and Iwasa clearly, like really nicely. And then Hauger, you don't even speak about him.
Yeah, he speaks about Hauger horribly. He wants
Hauger,
him gone.
Hauger, he's basically calling Hauger a bum.
Hauger, Deruvula wants them gone. He
Deruvula
even speaks positively about Kvyat. So you could tell that when he rates you, he'll speak nicely about you. He might throw some shots, but he'll still speak nicely about you.
I think he's quite brutally honest when he's talking about his junior drivers. Because that's his job, right?
That's
to evaluate the drivers and see which ones could go into F1 and whatever. And he'll say who he rates and who he doesn't rate.
I mean, that is kind of Red Bull's model anyway, to be fair. That's sink or swim mentality.
Yeah, it's sink or swim in it.
And he does it with everyone on the grid. That's why he speaks nicely about Lando.
So maybe there might be a rift there between Helmut Marko and Horner about what they think of Perez
And I think
and what role they play.
Because
I think this is what they think of money.
Yeah, compare it. So Horner might be like, this guy brings in money.
But even Daniel, because Red Bull's got money, so like, yes, it's nice that
Who's got money?
Red Bull.
Red Bull's got money.
Red Bull.
I hear that, but
Like, yes,
Well,
it's
they
cool.
sound half
But
a
are we
billy.
going to dispute Red Bull's got money?
No,
we're not
Don't do this.
disputing
Come
that.
on.
We're not
They sound
disputing that.
half a billy with Oracle. That's a Drake deal.
No,
Bro, they're the big engine coming in the world, man. Like, come on.
I'm not disputing that, but they brought in Perez.
I know
for a reason.
Perez got Carlos Slim money. We've been known. Perez is.
Yeah, but how much money is he bringing in?
He's
got
a
that
good driver, so
Narcos
don't say
money.
it.
No, they brought in Perez because
Perez is a paid driver. He's the OG paid driver.
Yeah, he's the original one.
Tell Max, Carlos Slim.
They did not bring Perez in because there's no other drivers they could have brought in to do
Yes, they did.
Yes, they
a
did.
second driver
Yes, they
job.
They did, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so they got rid of Albon
Yeah,
and they brought Checo in
yeah.
You forget
because
they
he was the
hate
best
Gasly.
driver
Gasly
available
was there,
at
so
that
it didn't
time.
work out.
With the money.
He was the driver of the season that year.
Without the money.
Remember, Racing Point. He was cooking.
He was
cooked.
he
Hey,
was top
2020.
3
He
driver in
cooked.
2020, 100%.
Okay,
Even
so-
you, biggest
yes.
hater, he was top 3 driver in 2020.
And that would warrant him to be a second
Easy.
driver.
You
at
know
Red Bull.
what? You know
Yes.
what? Yeah.
Did he deserve to be unemployed?
No, he
No,
didn't.
no.
There we go.
I had
But
him
then,
I had him
but
four.
then
I
why
had him
is it
four.
so? So wait, hold on. So you're telling me, yeah, because Checo was going to be employed, Red Bull threw him a bone.
Red Bull.
No.
No, there was money there. There was money there.
They had no one.
That's what I'm telling you. It's the
No, but Albon brings money.
but not like Checo.
Albon brings money.
What's even the difference anyway? Red Bull or up anyway? They don't need
They
Checo's
don't
money.
care. But it's not Haas,
Man,
man.
okay.
It's not Haas. Like, they don't need the
They
money.
don't need
They don't
Checo's
make
money.
their
They're not
decisions based on
brokies.
money.
They are not broke boys.
Actually, that's a good point about Haas.
Nice segue.
Nice little segue there.
Mad.
We've got a gentleman here. His name's Chris, aka
Christopher C.
the Schumacher propaganda machine.
It's wild,
All
though.
Schumacher.
It's wild.
David,
It's wild.
Ralph.
No.
Ralph.
There's no ratings for
He's going to
David.
executive.
Don't do it for ratings or
Michael.
He's going to executive.
This guy was
you- if
DQ,
you-
you know.
Bro,
Yeah.
even if you're just a random guy named Schumacher, he's rating.
He's going to produce.
Hey, what's that
Hey,
man saying? For
Steven
Plymouth
from-
Falcao was a date.
No,
Tony Schumacher.
Steven Schumacher.
Yeah, that's it.
He's going to pitch and
Family,
produce
if you know, you know.
the Schumacher version of The Crown. Watch. You see.
Just
Okay, so
makers.
talking about Haas. Haas announced, this is after our pod that we did last week. Haas announced that Hulkenberg will be replacing Mick Schumacher
Mid for mid.
in Haas
stay calm.
for Haas. And
Mid for
Mick Schumacher, the son of Michael Schumacher. If I go to my nan don't know English, but she knows Michael Schumacher. This big name. You get me? Mick don't know if she knows him. She might have heard of his crashes though.
He was top 10 in most popular drivers last year in America. That name means something.
Man gave me the most
I can
obscure
guarantee.
stat
I
I've
can
ever
guarantee
seen.
you.
Who cares?
I can guarantee.
Who cares?
You. Wait, say that stat again.
Hey,
Top 10 most popular driver in America. Do they even know?
Let me tell you why he is.
Do you know who's in that
Mick-
top 10? Do
'cause
you know
Mick
who's in
is-
that top 10?
Because Mick is short
Alex
for Michael.
Palou. Some random IndyCar driver.
Wait, any on your books?
Mick is short for Michael.
Mick's named after Mick Doohan.
Mick is short for Michael.
Wait, he's named after
Yeah,
Mick
that's
Doohan.
true. He's right. Yeah, I hear that as well.
yeah,
He's named
facts,
after
yeah.
Mick
Shout
Doohan.
out to Mick Doohan.
That's fine. But
So-
Mick
so
is short for
MotoGP
Michael.
legend.
So you know how Jack
Yeah,
got his
that's
first
also
cut
true.
from Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, them man were boys.
Okay,
bro.
no, we're going off point here. You can do all this prop. Your man is now unemployed. He may now be working in McDonald's.
We got Mercedes.
McDonald's.
We got the Mercedes.
McDonald's. That's the name of the pod.
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Just
Mickey D's.
Did these performances this season warrant him being dropped?
No, but there's a lot more behind. 3 reasons why. Obviously, K-Mag did better than him in terms of points. And then there's politics, as in Gunther Steiner did not like Ralph Schumacher and everyone cooking him for his handling of Mick Schumacher. That's clear to see. And then and then there's like little like tensions within the team and so on and so forth. And then obviously there was the crashes as well, which doesn't help. So those 3 things added together didn't help. But in terms of pure performance, no, because Yuki did a relatively same job in AlphaTauri, and he's
Why are you bringing Yuki into this, bro?
No, because we're
Why are you
comparing
bringing
him,
Yuki?
we're comparing him to his age.
Just talk
mates.
about Mick and Haas. Why are you bringing Yuki?
Look, there's a reason why Toto Wolff was like, oh, bruv, maybe Gunter's from the hills, yeah. There's high altitude. There's no oxygen. There's no
He is from. I swear, Gunter's Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian.
Technically, yes.
yeah.
Exactly.
He's from
Actually, that's not- it's
by
too
the
politics.
Italian
It's
border.
too
There's the
politics.
border
Stuff
with
like that.
Austria and Italy in Italy,
Yeah.
innit? So
Yeah, so he said he's from the hills. There's no oxygen getting to his head because, like, it's one of the things. Yeah,
Why did you just send the shot to Steiner?
there was no need for that.
Nah, he
That was-
no, he
that was-
does.
that
Nah, he
wasn't-
deserves it. I'm with
He
Chris.
deserves it. He deserves
I'm on
it.
Team Chris. He deserves that.
he deserves it. No, the thing is, yeah.
Okay, no.
Replace
Okay,
him
no,
with-
no.
look,
Let me, before you answer, let me just give you an example. Yeah, if I hire somebody, yeah, I own a pizza shop, yeah, and I hire somebody to make pizzas for me, yeah, and this brother keeps setting the place on fire, and I keep having to call insurance. Oh, listen, we got to pay up. We got to build a new shop. Da, 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 da. And he does it multiple times. Yeah, why should he still be employed?
Yeah, but it's different. This is Formula One. This is not a pizza
Because
shop.
the person's name.
Hey, Haas is a pizza shop. They ain't got no money. They got the same wheel guns from 2016.
Because the guy's name done.
Yeah, but that's a see. If I speak on that, that's
No, to be
that's
fair,
me
though,
going
It's
down.
because
Yeah,
if you're I like your point, because what you're saying is, oh, because he's Papa John's son.
No, take a nepotism.
No.
Take a
That's
nepotism.
wild.
That nepotism buys a little bit more.
It's not
That's wild.
nepotism.
Don't
It's
take
not
it. It's not
nepotism.
nepotism. It's not nepotism.
It's not nepotism. He earned his stripes to get into Formula One.
How?
He
He
won
won F2 and F3.
Yeah,
What are you talking about?
He earned the right to be in F1.
Tell me all the wins. Go on.
No. Why are you?
You
Tell me all the races.
You are sick. Don't do that. You're sick.
Tell me all the
They got all
races.
his wins now.
Name them now.
I
On
run
F2.
I run a Mick agenda with
Guys are
ethics.
saying
Mon-
it, don't
but
kill
What
me.
on earth is that?
And wait, he Monza and Sochi, where you got the race wins. But the thing is, that's the COVID tax season, so winning races is a bit sticky still.
Yuki was better than him.
I won more races than him that season. But apart from that, though, yeah, with
Yeah,
Schumacher,
and where's
with the
Isla?
crashes, IndyCar.
Nipper.
But
Get your clout up, bro.
I back
Get
your
your
boy,
money
man.
up.
I back your boy because
Must say, get your money out. He's Michael Schumacher's son. Of course, he's got
Nepotism is-
money.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
Nah, but-
They cannot compete.
with Mick, though,
Nobody can compete.
Yeah, but George don't have no money. He's
Yeah, because
in
George is
has
talented.
Money.
Mercedes
there.
back
If Isla was
George is
talented,
talented.
Get in there, innit? But they
Okay, so-
put Gio in the other Ferrari space.
Oh, forget Gio, man.
Okay.
Let's
Can I
talk
ask
about
you?
Gio.
Can I ask you a direct question right now? Yeah, who's better, Mick or Nico Hulkenberg?
For me, honestly, I'm being honest. Yeah.
If you say Mick Schumacher,
No. It's the same.
No,
it's
it's
not.
No.
Christ.
Look at the second half of the season, yeah, and look at mixed performances compared to K-Mags. He's been better, but it's just that Haas haven't been
true.
good enough.
It's true.
That's true.
And Haas have done strategy mistakes.
if Nico comes in and cook K-Mag, what are we gonna do?
Then Mick was cooking K-Mag. So what are we gonna do?
Was he cooking K-Mag or
He's
did he
been
lose?
cooking K-Mag.
Second half he was.
Second half he was.
If he cooked, would he not have a job?
No, it's not even that though. It's
That's
because
politics, though.
No,
Politics
listen,
involved.
politics and also the way the has fallen off, yeah, and dropped off, yeah. Like
The
they weren't in the points in the second half of the season. Hence why Mick hasn't got any points.
One thing I'll tell you about now: if you drive for a back marker, your number one job is to bring the car home. That's the whole reason Joe has got a job right now.
No,
You
okay.
bring the car home.
But with Mick though, all his crashes have been in practice. It hasn't been really junior races. It's been practice sessions. That's where the majority of his crashes have been happening.
When when you
but
see the
when
£1 million
it's-
crashes,
Yeah,
they're
when
in
it's
the
a
race,
cost
bro.
cap and you're crashing it in
They
practice.
didn't reach the
I hear
cost
it.
cap.
I hear
So
it.
like,
Now they're gonna reach the cost cap. They got that MoneyGram deal.
deal.
Look, did you notice the second they got that MoneyGram deal, they realized, Mick, we don't need your money. In my culture, they would say, Matt Salama, goodbye. They didn't need it.
Look. I'll put it this way. Yeah, it didn't work out. In reality, I'm gonna see because I think the real question is what Ferrari gonna do because they don't have a place to put young drivers anymore because Haas are not taking any more young drivers.
Yeah.
We're talking about this issue. Actually, you know how we say, we couldn't go to Steiner, Go to Steiner kept Roman Grosjean instead of choosing Charles Leclerc. I don't care for this guy's opinions and his thoughts on drivers, bro.
That's
the guy
actually
doesn't
wild.
know Will. He don't know Will.
He doesn't. He doesn't unguarding them.
Okay, you're back in the thing. You don't think Mick should have went?
No, I think Hulk was the right decision.
No, Hulk being in there.
So he does know Will then.
The thing for me, it's not.
No.
He knows finances.
Yeah.
No, I get why I don't, but Stan and Mick had to part company because it was just getting too toxic. Stuff was leaking out like TMZ every single week, saying about, Gunter don't rate Mick and blah, 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 and Ralph keeps bullying me. It was getting too much. They had to part company. So no matter what Mick done, he was always going out the door, to be fair. So swapping him out for Hulkenberg is not really a bad thing.
But here's
Actually,
here's where
let me say one thing.
Go on.
For me, it's not dropping Mick that's the problem. It's dropping the man for Hulkenberg. It's like it's not inspiring. If he said, we're swapping Mick out and putting Robert Schwartzman in the car, I'd be like, you know what, fair enough. It's another rookie. It's something new. It's something different. The fact that you're swapping him out for Hulkenberg is that you have the most uninspiring.
Yeah, but Hulkenberg's not going to crash it. That's the point.
You don't know.
No, he's not.
Okay, we'll
I'd
see.
rather Hulk than Schwartzman, I can't
That's
lie.
TBC, but I don't remember Hulkenberg doing a madness
He
in
don't
terms of
crash
crashing.
it
He doesn't crash him. You don't crash him.
That's Grosjean. I don't. That's
When there was a
Hulkenberg.
chance for a podium in Germany 20.
It's not about podiums. It's not about podiums.
man.
But the pressure
This
was on
guy,
you crash.
midfield
let's-
team.
where you're a better evaluator of talent than that. This guy gets multiple top 10 finishes. Come on, let's be serious, man.
Mick here, so I'm gonna lie.
No, but here's But here's
Mick
my.
comes first.
All right, so here's my thing.
Agenda comes
Man
first.
said to me, agenda, hold that. That's what he told me.
Here's my thing. I agree with you in regards to like Gunter and Mick. They had to part companies, yeah. But Mick gave him the opportunity to get him fired. If Mick performed better than he did, he'll still win a job because dollar signs make more sense than agendas in Formula One. I know Twitter makes you believe that that's not the case, but if Mick, if
Money
Mick,
makes the world go round.
exactly, if Mick is scoring points and Haas is higher, you don't get rid of that. You just don't. That's not happens. Instead, what he did, he crashed it out.
If Mick scored more points than K-Mag, he would still be
He
in
would
the
still
seat.
be there.
100% he would still be in the seat.
I don't know if that's going.
Regardless of politics.
No,
know it's like
Jose, yeah, that's true.
Gunter will be gone.
But no, the thing.
He should be gone.
Gunter's not going though.
No,
That's
that's
his
what
team.
I'm saying. Gunter would have been gone.
He's not going though, because he's one that's.
But he should go.
Well, but
He should go.
But he's not going because Mick has opened the door for him to go. Look, see, he's been the car so many times. How much is that going to cost us? He hasn't got enough. He hasn't got more points than a guy that we brought in because Mazepin,
He knows the team though, so that's not the same thing. He knows the
Mazepin
team.
got called up because of the front lines.
because Putin did a mad thing. That's the only reason why K-Mag is there, and he got out. And
He was on a
Mick.
beach before
No.
testing.
But here's the thing.
They called him up.
Okay, let's put it this way. Let's ignore.
He was not match
let's
fit.
ignore 2021 because Haas didn't even try.
Yeah, I'm not
They
taking
didn't-
account
no,
2021.
They didn't try.
The damages though.
So obviously there was crashes in 2021, whatever, and then it was in 2022. The start wasn't good enough, but the improvement was there, and you can see that a person who develops young drivers, Franz Tost, manager of AlphaTauri, says you need 3 seasons to see what you got in an F1 driver.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he says.
He says that. Yeah.
That's why he's giving time to Yuki. He's like, don't worry, we're gonna give you that. We're gonna stick with you. We've seen the improvement. He's gotten better. So it's not about necessarily just performance. There's other stuff behind it. And now you know what? It's fair enough. My problem is how they've handled it. It's been a bit messy from both sides, especially as a team and organization. They only told Mick that he was leaving on Sunday in Brazil. Actually, it was Sunday in Brazil. It was the day before. It was like Tuesday. They told him.
I think he's seen it coming though.
He saw it
Low-key.
coming.
He's
yeah.
the writers on the
But
wall,
thing
man.
is, he put off going to Williams because he didn't know. Because like Williams are also a rubbish.
Do you know when he knew?
But then that's
Do you
silly.
know when he knew?
But
When
that's silly
When he
then.
binned it in practice in Suzuka, he knew.
But that's silly.
At
then.
that point,
If
it
you-
was
if
already
you-
too late because that's when like Williams
Decisions
already
can't be
in
made.
a
But
bad
that's silly,
situation with
boy.
Logan Sargent. So it's already too late.
That's silly.
So obviously,
you should always quit before you get fired.
No, but the thing is,
Don't kill me.
go into Williams.
You're sick.
You're sick, man.
You are
Williams.
fucked.
Hey, if you want any more employment advice,
No,
Contact end.everything on Twitter.
Every 2 years, quit your job, you get a pay rise. Come on, we know that. We know the
Nam's
game.
right, yeah. But the thing is, what I was gonna say is because Williams are also not good. That's like you going from Haas to Williams. It's not. Like,
Are we
it's
sure?
not- it's environmental.
No, wait, hold on. Are we sure they're not good or Latifi's not good?
Albon's a competent
They're not
driver.
that
They're not
good.
good.
They're not that good.
okay.
So that's where it's like if it was for Aston Martin and Alpine, which he was linked to, then you saw that he would have just left. But because it's Williams, he waited, and then obviously he tried to keep it with Haas for one more year, look for other options after that.
But now he's unemployed.
Because
See,
Mercedes,
So wait. So he's been rumored now to be the reserve driver for Mercedes. Chris, how do you think that's gonna go?
it's gonna go well. It's literally your face is in the paddock, you're around, and then
Who's he going to replace?
Me as a Mercedes fan, you should know this.
No.
We need
He's
to
not.
please.
He's not.
He caught you out there.
No, I'm not talking about the reserve. I'm talking about who's going to replace that Mercedes. Like, he's going to be a reserve driver. I've never seen any of them.
De Vries.
Well, it's the reason
De
Van
Vries got
Dorn
seen
in
that,
it.
innit?
Well, Van Dorn's when.
Ocon and De Vries have got seats for being
Hear what I'm
reserve.
saying? No. Hear what I'm saying. So you're saying that he's just there so he can be around the paddock?
No, that's what Albon did. Albon was around the paddock, reserve last year. He got a seat.
No,
Yeah,
but
you learn from Lewis.
But
you learn-
Albon-
you learn from Lewis.
but the difference-
Look at Ocon. Ocon was put to the side. He went and spent a year learning from US. He come back. He's in Renault. The whole plan is, I reckon, from him and his team, they're looking at the Audi seat in 2024. There's Alfa Romeo will become Audi at the end of the year. Joe has a 1-year contract. The maths adds up.
That was like, get that guy
There's
out
a
my
German
team.
team. There's a German
go to
team.
Audi, man.
You want a German driver.
He ain't go to
The
Audi.
maths
Nam said,
adds
get
up
that out of
too
my current
well.
team and my future team. He said, I
adds
don't want
up
to be
too
Mercedes
well.
or Audi.
It adds up too well.
No, he
So
ain't going there.
Plot twist, he got off to Nico Hulkenberg.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. That was so funny.
So
we don't know how long Copa's contract is. Steiner refused to say.
yeah,
So
that's
boy.
interesting. But goodbye to Mick. That was Mick's last race in Formula 1 for now. Goodbye to Latifi. Nam, thoughts?
Latifi. Who's Latifi?
Latifi, the guy that's 20 seconds at the back, you know?
That guy.
That guy, he has an illustrious career, 3 years.
Do you know what Latifi? You know Latifi? Do you know what he drives like? Have you ever played F1? Yeah, the video game.
Yeah.
And you put the settings way too hard.
And then you get dunked on.
Yeah. And like he's just sitting.
And
at
you're
the
like,
back.
yo, why
Why you just
20 seconds back?
Yeah, that's Latifi. That guy,
Any memorable moments for Latifi
memorable.
that you remember? Any of you guys?
80,
Tell me.
21,
Any of you
anybody?
guys?
80,
How's
21.
memorable.
No.
That is memorable.
In a bad way.
Yeah, so it's memorable though.
No, Silverstone quality, he was cooking.
Yeah, Simpson calling. Yeah.
Oh, my memory of him is Hungary qualifying by with purple sector 1, green sector 2, yellow sector 3.
That's
qualifying
unheard of.
last.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, that was wild.
A
That was
unique
wild.
talent.
Elite talent, 100%.
If he doesn't get that teledeal though,
So no. What do you mean? Who cares about?
Yeah,
but
you
he
should.
get the
That's why his dad
Go
owns
spread some.
Safina
Go
Food.
spread some toast.
He's
him
getting
getting
bread.
the teledeal should be like when Southgate got that pizza deal.
What?
Exactly like that.
So
that's a
let's
deep
not go
cut.
into that
That's
because
a deep cut.
yeah,
It's coming home anyway.
World Cup time. Pitstop Fracas on the World Cup. Join us soon. There was a lot of goodbyes today. I'm just gonna hand this over to the resident Vettel fan of the pod.
Go on.
yes, come on.
No, his name's Richard.
Oh, Rich.
Richard, aka the undercover Red Bull fan.
I should know that because you hate
Well, what? Hey, slow down. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not an undercover Red Bull man.
Vettel, 4 world titles,
Mm.
an illustrious career. A lot of emotion in the paddock, a lot of tributes. Thank you, Seb, happening around. And they even did a run for him.
Yeah,
Do you know how
After
wild
Quali?
this doesn't make sense.
source is
Just
unbelievable.
before you go in, this doesn't make sense at all. Did he die?
No, listen, we're trying
Nah,
to.
come
we're
on,
trying to-
bro.
we're trying to-
Come on,
we're trying
bro.
to-
Don't do that.
We're gonna have to cut out because we're trying to do a nice thing to Seb, yeah.
Ally.
This
I
guy
don't
don't
rate-
like Step. He don't rate Step.
And of me as
No,
well.
I rate
I'm trying to
him.
do. So
I rate.
I'm
No,
giving it to
hear me
the
out.
resident.
Hear me out. I rate Seb. I just think the coverage from.
Thank you, Seb.
Dank
Why?
no,
Frankie,
Dank
that's
Seb.
it.
Did they do that?
Danky.
Did they do that for
Stanky.
Did they do that for Raikkonen?
No,
they did.
because no one gives a fuck.
Because Raikkonen don't
Raikkonen
care.
doesn't care.
Raikkonen, sorry, Raikkonen doesn't care. Yeah, sorry, Raikkonen
No, they
doesn't
still
care.
get coverage to Raikkonen.
Raikkonen didn't even do
No,
donuts.
but-
In his last race, he retired the car, went home.
Yeah,
But he said, they're like, the car still works. He's like, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't work. Retired
I must
the
say
car.
fuck this.
So your tribute to Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for the past week or so, or whatever, there's been a lot of tributes. Some people think over dramatic. I don't think so. To be fair, I think it's quite justified. To be honest, I was even taken aback at the amount of tributes that I've seen. So, for example, the dinner, of course, people thought they went to Saltbridge restaurants and they ran up on top. Obviously, that wasn't the case. They only went Hakkasan, Mahad's favourite restaurant. So, of course...
Never been there, mate.
All right, good, cool. Yeah, of course, he got an award off the GPDA and he ordered the finger salute. That was cute. Bear Man went on the little...
Why are you referring to things cute?
Hey, don't do that. Don't do that.
Put him out.
Don't do
I
that.
just wanted to. I just noticed, didn't it?
It was hard then, bro. It's hard.
Just say it was good, man.
It's good.
It's good, yeah.
Yes, whatever. Yeah, of course, they went on a run for him around Abu Dhabi. I thought that was good then, sort of cute. But I love... What was that, Quams?
Say it again.
And let's focus. We got limited time.
I said good instead of cute.
We've got limited time, so stay focused. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, we're gonna have to edit that now. Okay, what's your tribute to Vettel?
Tribute to Vettel, he does kind of divide opinion a bit in terms of his career. But in my opinion, he's the legend of the game. 4 world titles, that's not anything to be scoffed at. 53 wins, 57 poles, 122 podiums. I'm just freestyling here. Of course, he's had some bad seasons. 2014, 2020, but you can add the taxes to that, to be fair. At Ferrari taxes 2014. I'd just been made unemployed taxes 2020 sort of thing. But yeah, I think in terms of tribute, in terms of on and off the track, he's definitely been a big plus to the sport. Of course, he was the ultimate sort of villain, if you will, back in his Red Bull days. And then when he kind of went to Ferrari, kind of changed his ways, started caring about the environment, started fighting for women's rights and stuff like that. So I came for bees and stuff like that, and climate change and global warming. And I think that's all genuine, by the way, because some people think he's doing that for PR, but Seb is actually just joined Instagram the other day, so that doesn't make any sense. But Seb, I think he'll be dearly missed by a lot of people. Maybe not Mahad, but we understand his reasons. And to be fair, yeah, I think for an Asmartin perspective, I think he was on reflection, he was with been enough Checo for. I think the ideal partnership would have been a Checo-Vettel partnership, but we know why that couldn't happen, to be fair. And I think even next season, the Alonso-Seb partnership would have been quite good, especially with the trajectory of the Aston Martin in the second half of the season, to be fair. I think they could have maybe been challenging for Alpine and McLaren maybe next year, especially with Dan Fellows cooking a bit, fair bit. But yeah, I think Aston Martin are now better off with what Seb's done. I think, as I say, yeah, he'd be dearly missed, and yeah, he's a legend of the game. So hopefully we'll see him back on the paddock in some capacity, even if it's not as a driver. But yeah.
I was gonna say, do you think he's gonna come back as a driver? Because these guys always retire and then come back.
Yeah, I think if he does, he'll probably only be for Audi, but it'll probably be let's say a 1-year deal sort of thing. But it also depends on his family situation, because I think his dad did reveal that's kind of one of the reasons why he's decided to leave now, because he actually did want to carry on, but as you know, he does have a family, and then other people on the grid don't have a family. For example, Alonso and Lewis, if they did, they probably would have left by now, per se. So I can imagine when you have a wife and kids, your perspective does change. Especially when you've achieved so much, then yeah, you're going to be like, you know what, I'm not really in that much of a competitive car. I'd rather just spend time with my wife and kids before, not to say before it's too late, but while he's still young, per se.
Yeah. There was one more person that we missed out. Daniel Ricciardo. Who wants to do a tribute for Daniel Ricciardo? Because it damn sure ain't gonna be me.
Can I start off?
I'll give it.
Oh, I was gonna start off. Go on.
Oh, so Daniel Ricciardo. I first saw him, in HRT. When
Great
he
tribute,
first
thank
came
you.
in.
There's no more. There's no more to say.
And you don't need to start HRT all the way back.
I don't start off for.
I'm gonna start reeling off stats.
No stats, man.
We only got that 10 minutes, bro.
Go on. Reel off the
Basically,
stats.
my point was back then, yeah, he was cooking. He was doing the head of Carter Kane and Lewis and them, man.
That's not hard.
I know it's not hard.
Skip
but
that
you
part,
wanna
bro.
back my
Come on.
car, yeah,
This
you're
is
You're doing it
bare
with the surface.
I lie.
Okay.
Talk about the Red Bull days.
Okay, forget
Apart
to
from the
what
season with his caveat.
Okay, Red Bull days, yeah, I'll go straight to the point, yeah. This was the first guy to dunk on Vettel.
That's true.
Vettel came
That's
off.
Ferrari talks.
Oh
Oh my days.
Hey, we're all a bit shameless, so why can't I?
Okay, cool. But anyways,
I respect it.
Vettel coming off back-to-back championship, 4 years in a row. Yeah, and Ricardo was matching him. We haven't seen that. This guy's overtaking. His late dives. He was doing the overtaking thing, but he wasn't doing no mad dive bomb. He wasn't doing no pull up and crash. Yeah, late in break, overtaking man, and doing.
True. Another person else I should have said in the whole. I've seen them drive properly.
I can't take it serious.
Guy, man.
You are so tapped.
Hey, changeable conditions. Yeah, Monaco is probably one of the best drives I've seen.
Yeah, that's an elite drive right there. He's got all his wins are banger wins.
Always was
Not
a
gonna lie.
back, bro. That's the thing. So yeah, entertaining character as well outside the grid. Even his Renault days, getting that team to a podium.
What was
Hey,
it?
Ocon
What was
did
it?
it too,
Was it
bro.
China? I don't know what race he won in China.
Was it in
2017
Germany as
or
well?
something?
China,
Is it 2017 China? There
Oh,
was
sorry.
one race in China where he cooked everybody, man.
Yes, 2017.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, that's a banger race as well. He's got highlights, man.
His highlight reel is like Giroud's in football, essentially.
That was a good comparison.
that's
right
a good
there.
comparison.
Yeah, that's a good
comparison.
comparison. Yeah.
If he does
Yeah,
win,
greatest
it's gonna be a banger.
comparison.
And you think he'd be world champion, even though this guy's got less than 10 wins.
He's got 8 wins.
Less
Got
than
8
10.
wins.
Yeah, get it right,
I said
King.
less than 10.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
alright, cool. Alright. Kwame said, "Hold that."
Ricardo has a better chance. Ricardo
Don't question me, bro.
Ricardo has a better chance of going to Audi than Mick Schumacher, by the way.
Mick
Is
is
he?
German
No, he
and
doesn't.
young. What
Yeah,
are you
German tax is
doing?
real. We've seen this with BMW.
Why are you saying German and young? Is he Cat Havertz? What are you talking about?
Wait, say false start, yeah?
Look at history.
Mick
Look at
Schumacher
the
false
background.
start.
Look at the history of German
47,
manufacturers
you know.
coming into Formula One.
Go on.
BMW, Ralf Schumacher, German and young. Mercedes, Nico Rosberg, German and young. It's again happening again. Audi, young, German, Mick Schumacher.
Are there other
The
German
math
drivers?
adds up.
There's none.
No.
There's none.
No.
So you're saying all the hopes are pinned
Yep.
on.
Well,
Guaranteed
David's an F3, isn't he?
No,
He's in DTM and he's back.
No,
Broke.
no.
He
What?
broke his back.
Yeah, man.
Nobody.
He broke
cares.
his back.
Yeah, he
Mad.
crashed and broke
That's
his
a
back.
bad crash.
All I'm gonna say is Audi are trying
Even-
to. Audi you currently are trying to.
I don't know how this has turned into. Stick to the Ricardo
Yeah,
trip, you
Ricardo,
guys.
man. Let me get back to it.
Oh, what's going on
cares,
there, guys?
man?
Let me
point
just
was,
say this point before you continue. Audi are trying to break into the American market. So
Do you have
And
intel?
who's one of the most
Do you have
popular
intel?
drivers in America?
You, oh,
Mick.
alright, fair enough.
Anyways,
The
let's
math
back
adds
onto
up.
Daniel Joseph Ricardo. Yeah, a very in his heyday, in his peak, one of the most an underrated driver in the grid. One of the most underrated drivers
why
in
do
the
you know
grid.
he's middle?
He was rated top 3. What are you talking about?
Can I
He
throw?
was the top 3 driver. When we look at the whole career of Daniel Ricciardo, yeah, he's literally only been bad for the last 2 years.
That's it. So, it's,
So I think people are doing him a disservice when they say like he's a horrible driver.
No, recency bias, isn't it?
Recency bias.
And also,
yeah.
what if as well?
And most F1 drivers go outside anyway.
Like he did. Yeah, but this was mad young because he's still only 31, 32?
He's 33
Like
years old.
fair, yeah.
So that's why he's definitely like eligible for other
Coming
seats
back.
when they do come up because
He's still young enough to come back.
yeah, exactly.
Look at Hulkenberg, but
But for now, goodbye to Daniel
it's a
Ricciardo.
big what if, in my opinion, though. It's like Neymar. If Neymar didn't go,
Can't stop.
I'll cut that recording right now, Kwame. I swear to God.
We're
I'll
drunk.
cut that recording right now.
Right now,
Cut it out, Kwame. Jesus Christ.
bro,
it's a
man.
big what if.
Stop, man.
Control your Ghanaian brother, bro.
I lie? You got names moving mad because.
Quasi, yes, sir.
Comparing Ricardo to Neymar.
That's wild.
Hey, that's the name of the pod. Hey.
In a World Cup as well. That's
We're not today.
Hey, can I ask something? Actually, I think you already answered it. I was going to say, was Ricardo a top 5 driver in the last decade?
in the last decade.
2010 to 2019.
He's not better than Hamilton.
Not better than Vettel.
He's not better than Vettel. He's not better than Alonso.
Also,
He wasn't better than Rosberg.
He's not better than Rosberg. He's not better than
Max,
Max.
so no.
Okay, so the answer's a. I was just trying to
Arsenal
question
as
out
well,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely a no.
Okay, cool.
Top 10, yeah, but not top.
Yeah, top 10. I'll say top 10.
That was, okay, top 10's fine. Yeah, I was just thinking
All
top
right, so we're not going to actually do driver today because today's race was
There wasn't any.
there wasn't any drivers today.
No, I'll give it Max. He won the race. Move on.
Yeah.
No, I'll give it Lando.
That's kind of.
I'll give it Lando. I'll give it.
Seb. You know what?
All right, cool.
Sentimental.
So what? I'm leaving with
high.
something. Hey, Kimmy got a lost too. So
And last Latifi award goes to Latifi.
It has to go to Lewis.
yes, fuck you, Latifi.
Actually, no, it goes to Mick because what was that spin?
Do you know
was that
what?
move?
Yeah.
The
That
F1 manager
was
crash.
the weirdest crash, yeah.
It was
It was
F1 manager crash.
Latifi was going so slowly, and then Mick was like, "Let me move out the way, but I'm gonna hit you." It was so they're both bozos for that. Jesus.
All right, we've got a couple listeners' questions before we leave.
Shoot.
Let's go through them. Annex says, W13, talk to me.
We've talked about it already. Listen to the pod.
Listen
Listen
to
to
the
here.
Answer the pod.
Come to you next time.
We got a question from Ducks on Quack 9.
Shout out Nathan.
Will Mahad duck the Alonso allegations because he was extremely confident about him finishing ahead of the standings?
Pull up, bro.
I don't want him turning up on a milk card.
So it's what's happened to
Look, I'm looking at the
Plan.
camera. No, I'm looking at the camera right now.
Which one?
Listen, Nathan, yeah? You put these questions in, trying to come for me.
God bless you.
Hold that. Because Gasly had a howler today. So don't try to deflect it on Alonso or anything like that. Alonso was sabotaged by his team. They dusted his water pump. They don't want him to win. They wanted the French driver to win.
What a season.
Like how many DNFs? This is absurd. This is absurd. The amount of times problems.
What a season.
It's what you said. What a season, because this is absurd. Even to like the McLaren levels of how our car was breaking down. This is absurd.
No, I'm gonna say one thing. Like brother Martz, the ghost of Martz, said he's driving a car too aggressively.
Oh, here we
I
go.
brought the evidence from Baguette Twitter as well, so
You
we've
did.
seen the evidence.
Je ne sais quoi tout
So
Baguette
boy,
Twitter.
he has to hold
Yeah,
that.
French shit, man.
Still French Twitter, bro.
No. Shout out.
Too many conspiracy theorists over there, man.
ça.
That's-
He's literally French speaking, so it
bloody
makes sense.
Macron hype. Nobody wants to hear that. We've got a question from Uzair Saeed. Shouts to you, brother. Rate the 2022 season out of 10. I give it a 2. That's what he said.
They owe me.
A 2.
That's mad low.
You give it a 2.
Mad low.
No, that's what he said. He said he's giving it a 2.
They
Uzair.
owe me. That's how much
Just
I
give us a
rate it.
number, man.
Minus.
Mr. Sky Q customer.
I lie. Sky glass
Give us a
head
number,
ass.
Give us a number out of 10.
1, 2, 2.
Was it worse than the 2015 season?
What happened in 2015?
That's how you
There we
know.
go.
Lewis
That's
just
how you
smoked
know.
everyone.
Crushed
And then
on
when-
everyone.
And then when the season was done, Rosberg just won every race off. And then Vettel had a little cheeky 1 or 2 wins.
That wasn't a bad.
That was
season.
horrible. Them man were winning races by 30 seconds.
But that's because they had the greatest car. This season was terrible. Terrible.
we saw good racing midfield. I'm sorry. We saw good mid.
That's
If you're biased towards the front of the grid,
It's terrible.
No, it's
You
not
would
the
say it was
bias.
terrible.
I think collectively, when I mean season, well, if we're talking about racing, yeah, you're correct. I'm talking about in terms of everything that went around the season. The
okay, how many
FIA.
good races this season?
There was a couple.
About 2015 had no good races. No high. That's not on reruns on F1 channel.
I think there's
Because I'm telling you right now, there was no banger races in that season.
We're gonna have to go. Back
Actually,
and
Big
see.
Man, the highlight of the season was Vettel winning the first race for Ferrari. That's the highlight.
Imagine.
And Rosberg throwing a hat at Hamilton.
Oh, that season.
That
That's
race,
a highlight.
was horrible,
Oh,
man.
okay, yeah, 2015.
Yeah, now you know. Now you know it is.
Sounds bad.
So what are you giving it out of 10? You're gonna give it a 2? Is that what you just said?
No, I'll give it a 3.
You give it a 3 out of 10. Goddamn. Kwame,
Say 5.5.
5.5. Chris.
8, literally because George Russell won the race.
I am
Russell won the race.
finished.
8. This guy is
I am
sicko.
finished.
Hey, it's a
You know, this
6.
whole time before George Russell won a race, he was just watching F2 highlights. Of George Russell. He was like, I need my fix.
No. I was just watching F3 races. I wasn't paying attention to F1.
He's gonna get 63.
I was in the
engraved on his
midfield.
wedding
I
ring.
was
And beer and
races.
hype, man. You are mad.
Oh, Lord.
What about you? What do you rate it?
Who, me? I'm going to give it 6 out of 10.
Above average.
So,
season,
some
so
horrible races, some good races, you know?
Above average.
I'd say 6.5.
Why are you trying to top me like that, bro?
No, I'm saying 6.5 because there actually has been good races.
Trying to top
So
you.
average.
Pause.
Average.
Hey yo! Hey yo! Whoa! Hey yo!
Edit that.
I'll bleep it out.
To be fair, yeah, the thing for me is some of the highlights, like in Austria, where the midfield was real racing.
That's the thing.
was
The
really
midfield was
good.
cooking, but it's the top 3 who won it. But midfield were cooking though.
All right. Favorite moments of the season. This is from Shay London, @_Shay London. Shout out to you.
You are
For those
tough. For
that
all
are
the
listening,
listeners,
for all our listeners,
Don't worry, I'll go.
Nam just brought out the bottle of champagne
So
that he
my
won.
favorite highlight of the season was when George Russell went past the checker flag first in Brazil. You know why? No way.
You and the missus drinking well.
Fam, she just texted me as well. She goes, "Where are you?" I was like,
I'm coming home with the champagne.
I got something for you.
Simon Club.
I got something for you.
Get the glasses, get the nice glasses out.
Yeah, this is gonna be nice actually.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that's your
Sparks winning
highlight.
that.
Kwame, what was your highlight of the season? Come on, bro.
I'm thinking.
What, you Aristotle? What's going on?
I'm still thinking.
Alright,
Why you putting the
Okay,
seals,
Chris,
bro?
we'll go to Chris.
I like
We'll
it.
go to Chris.
Okay. My highlights, yeah. Obviously, George winning the race. Mick getting points because I got cooked on that Monaco pod, yeah. When Mick crashed out and you were like, when's he going to get points? I said, wait till summertime. I was on my knees. So that was a big relief. But apart from that, look, I'm not going to support... also, and Bahrain, yeah, when the Red Bulls went out together like that. That was funny.
Yeah, I
was
remember. That
funny
was
still.
hilarious. That was synchronized failures.
Synchronized values. That was a lot of that the timeline was popping. That
Actually, no. And one last thing: when Alonso crashed in Quali in Australia because he was cooking,
he was sticking out on the front row. You know?
I love that.
I was seeing purple sectors.
My
You
highlight,
ran.
my highlight would have been Canada, Alpine with Alonso. That'd be my highlight. But
What, that quali highlight?
yeah,
That's serious. That's a serious.
it was a good quality.
That was a serious lap, you know.
Yeah, the race was trash.
then the race happened and it was beautiful.
Let's not talk about the race still.
I'm gonna be biased. My highlight of the season is Lando Norris on the podium.
Oh, that's fair.
Hear it.
The only non-Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull driver on the podium. By the way, you love that. And Charles Leclerc spun out in that race as well. Love
I
that.
love it.
Richard, what was your highlight of the season?
I'm going to go left field there. I'm going to say when Ferrari got a 1-2 in Bahrain and they gave them a false storm. Because they because they thought they were going to crash that season and they didn't.
You're slick.
Do you know what? That's the first time I watched the race, yeah, and my ears was physically ringing. I couldn't actually. My head was so kettled because I saw Ferrari 1-2. I couldn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Like I had to take. You know when you got vertigo. The room was spinning. I couldn't cope with that happening because I thought they're gonna cook this season. But you know,
like their
No,
champagne.
drop it.
my God didn't let me down.
Like their fizzy wine, it went flat.
I find it funny how all our top 10s were agenda filled as well. All our top 10s, all our top moments were agenda filled.
Yeah, because that's what makes it fun.
Come on, you know
There
the
we go.
vibes.
That's
No,
the season's
mine's not
track.
really agenda. It's a good moment.
Nah, Mahad's not agenda.
McLaren fan back in I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a good moment. Put it this
That's
way.
prop though.
We back our drivers.
Yeah,
When our drivers
Lando
do
had
well,
no reason to be on that podium.
That's
That
very
car
true.
was slow, man. Last question. On a scale of 1 to L, just how L was the plan?
Bare L's.
Oh, it's just, I guess
6
Yes.
L's still.
Alpine. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like overall for the team, it worked out the way he wanted, didn't it? It tactically worked the way he wanted. We
What a season.
What a season.
L failure.
Not on his part.
We've got a top
He needs
4
to hold us still.
No, they did. The thing
So
is,
what was the
Alpine
plan?
Got a top
won.
4.
This
Basically,
guy.
Alpine's
Best of the rest.
No. Alpine's plan was literally we're gonna make an engine that's as powerful as possible that we can make it, and then we're gonna score good points whenever we need to do it. So
Guys, this guy put in bare questions, but
Is that CFC 19 or whatever it is?
at Wayne's World 20
Oh.
underscore. Shout out to you. We're not gonna ask all your questions. We're just gonna ask her one more. Who's the early candidate for the 2023 Latifi? Who's gonna be the new Latifi? Miles off the pace.
It's funny because I remember I tweeted a poll on the account for Pitstop Fracas on it where I said the same thing. He's giving the worst drive of the season. And
gonna
I know
name-
there's
What,
gonna be
what
no
was the result?
Latifi.
What was the result?
We're gonna name
Actually, because
Latifi. I know what we're gonna name it.
I think it was Sergeant still.
Jowless.
Zhao. Zhao's gonna be
Zhaoless.
miles off the pace.
But yeah,
He's not miles off the pace now.
no, I don't think there's gonna be anyone miles off the pace like that. I think
Some people think it's Logan.
Sergeant.
Sargent.
Yeah, Sergeant.
nah, he's good. Like the thing is, he matched Piastri in F3.
Someone
so
on Twitter,
you can't be doing Piastri hype and then hate on Sargent. The math isn't mathing up.
Let me just say this. Someone said on on Twitter, yeah, what should we call you're trying to find slander names for Logan Sargent. I put Saving Sergeant Logan.
No,
That's
Nah,
brilliant.
But yeah,
Brilliant.
On that note,
Too soon, man.
On that note, we're ending the pod. Shout outs to everybody that watched this. Find us on Pitstop Fracas on Twitter. Find us on Instagram. Follow us on Apple and on Spotify. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and we will be back next week with our season review.
PDR, don't come back.
nah, Jesus Christ.